us. Give every driver wisdom and insight, and allow us to enjoy fun-filled, friendly weekend in your name. We give you thanks. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Virginia Tech's a cappella group, Naturally Sharp.
Oh, say that you see. So Smash right side, right snow, stir the bank. Storm, sweet, we're so good. Streaming, man. Over the net. And up.
Golden Corral has supported our veterans for over 2 decades through military appreciation nights, providing meals to veterans and active duty service members at no cost. And as a founding partner of Camp Corral, Golden Corral helps send children of wounded, ill, or fallen military members to summer camp each year. It truly is a special experience for those kids and their families. Well, who wants it the most? Short track racing at its finest for a shot at the 2025 championship. The cutoff race at Martinsville is just around the corner.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and welcome to today's NASCAR Xfinity Series live race action from Martinsville Speedway in the elimination race of the round of 8 of the NASCAR Xfinity Series 2025 playoffs. Appreciate everybody tuning in here this evening, our third and final live stream of the day, second live commentary stream of the day, followed by practice and qualifying coverage, which wrapped up about an hour ago for the NASCAR Cup Series. Congratulations to William Byron starting on the pole for that one. Last night's Craftsman Truck Race wrapped up with Corey Hunt getting his 11th win of the season, who will go on to win round number 32 of 33 for tonight's Xfinity Series event. 2 drivers locked into the championship four, not via wins, but because of points scored in the first 2 rounds, as well as playoff points throughout the course of the season. Connor Zilic and Justin Allgaier locked into the championship four. No playoff driver has won a race yet of the driver standings playoffs, but 2 drivers in the owner's standings, or 2 teams in the owner's standings, have locked their way into the championship four, that being the 19 of Eric Almirola and the 21 of Austin Hill. The 21 team for RCR and the 19 for JGR will be in the owner's championship four, so 2 spots still open there. Connor Zilic and Justin Allgaier's 88 and 7 team are in a pretty good spot to make their way in on points, so basically looking at the fact of, will we see another new winner dictate whether or not it will be the 88 and the 7, or the 88 or the 7 for those final spots there. As far as the driver standings go, you can see that scrolling across the top of the screen, along with other stats throughout the course of today's race. And on the big screen, I'll show you right here, first and foremost, what those point standings look like coming into the night. Jesse Love plus 40 points above the cut line. Carson Quapple plus 11. Minus 11 for Sammy Smith. Minus 20 for Brandon Jones. Negative 22 for Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed, minus 41 points, all below the cut line. As we go into today's race, I will be updating the points at the top of the screen so you know how many positions one driver would have to beat another by to advance into the championship four. It was pretty convoluted last night because there were so many possible outcomes that there could have been for 4 teams battling for 3 spots on points into the championship four. And those 4 teams all being within 1 point of one another right around the cut line for the truck race yesterday. So that took until the final lap to sort everything out. And then even after the checkered flag wave, we just kind of had to wait a minute. Okay, make sure everything was processed correctly. And it came down to a tiebreaker with Caden Honeycutt getting in with the second place run. Hopefully it doesn't get that confusing tonight, because it is going to be a easier race for me to be able to call from a point standpoint, as long as things stay the way that they should going in. John Ray, Holly HD, Deborah Carolla, Patrick Shadley, Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in. You guys are all the first in the chat. We've gotten to our like goal of 50 likes for the live commentary streams of the truck race last night, the Cup Xfinity, Cup and Cup practice and qualifying. There we go. I spit it out eventually for earlier today's stream. So this being our final one of the day. See if we can get to that like goal as well. At least 50. I think we have a chance to go for 100 tonight. Potentially. Potentially. Robert Goodrich, welcome to the stream as well. Like to see Creed get in the final four, but with his luck, yeah, I don't know. He's going to have to win, it looks like. Minus 41 points, especially with 3 drivers between himself and the cut line. I mean, you never know, though. Carson Kvapil could get taken out in an early incident like Raja Krut did last night. And even Jesse Love plus 40, not a lock, although Jesse Love in these first 2 stages has a chance to lock himself in. We'll see if he can do it. Definitely don't want to be Carson Kvapil on points if one of those 4 drivers below the cut line is able to go on and win this race tonight. Brandon Jones has won at Martinsville before. Sammy Smith, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed have not. Creed's still looking for his first career Xfinity Series win. Mayer with 1 win on the season, same for Smith. Try to pull up the live leaderboard again. There we go. The pre-race, I couldn't get it up because it was still showing the Cup Series practice and qualifying timesheets. But this is the starting lineup for tonight's race at Martinsville for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Let me get the sponsorship right. Sorry, I already messed up. The IAA and Ritchie Bros 250 at Martinsville. Here's the starting lineup for it, as you can follow along on screen. Harrison Burton will be starting on the pole for this one. Carson Kvapil starting in the second place position. Kvapil in the spring Martinsville race last year had a top 5, I believe, in his debut, if I remember correctly. Eric Almirola, former Martinsville winner in the Xfinity Series, will start inside of row 2 alongside Justin Allgaier. And row 3 will be Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill. Hill, another former Martinsville winner in the field. Ryan Sieg, Brendan Butterbean, Queen doing double duty this weekend. Queen ran top 10 yesterday in the truck race. Back for Xfinity Series racing in the Colleague 11. Christian Eck is his teammate on the inside of row 5 alongside Parker Retzlaff. And row 6 will be the playoff driver Brandon Jones and non-playoff driver Jeb Burton. Taylor Gray with Justin Bonsignor, the JGR Toyotas in row 7. Row 8 for Sammy Smith, Brennan Poole. Row 9 will be Blaine Perkins and Nick Sanchez. Myatt Snyder, Thomas Annunziata make up row number 10, rounding out the top half of the field. And row number 11, Jesse Love and Daniel Dye. Corey Day with Sam Mayer in row 12. Row 13 for Ryan Ellis and Connor Mosack. Kyle Sieg, Brad Perez, row 14. Row 15, Anthony Alfredo, Dean Thompson. Garrett Smithley, Josh Williams in row 16. Patrick Staropoli and Mason Maggio, row 17. Jeremy Clements and Takuma Koga in row 18. Row 19, rounding out the field, will be Austin Green and Connor Zilic coming from the rear. Started on the pole in the spring race earlier this season, led a lot of laps, and Zilic could go from the back to the front. So that is your starting lineup for today's race. All right. Gotta get the chat up on my phone so I don't have to keep bouncing back and forth between screens. Got over 50 people concurrently watching already. Matthew Dorter Bruno, Frank Powers, Steve, welcome to the stream, everybody. Already up to 22 likes. Greatly appreciate that, everyone. Just going back through, I don't think I hit the like button myself on any of the streams that have been on already today. Give myself a chance to do that real quick. Telling you guys to do it, and I didn't even do it myself. I guess I only didn't for this stream. I was thinking I may have forgotten from earlier, but I did not. All right. Cars are rolling out on the racetrack for the pace laps to begin today's race. Race is on the CW for visual purposes. As all season, the Xfinity Series has been on CW, and that will be the case for the next 6 years as well. Jamie McMurray along with Parker Kligerman alongside Adam Alexander in the booth for tonight's race. Again, Harrison Burton on the pole. Our stage splits today will be 60 laps in each stage 1 and stage 2. Final stage will take us to the end, 130 laps in stage 3. We had 11 cautions in the truck race of 200 laps last night at Martinsville. We tend to see a lot of cautions when it comes to the Xfinity and Truck Series races at the Paperclip. So expecting quite a few yellows again here tonight as well. For late breaking updates, I'll let you listen into the CW booth until the drop of the green flag. But never mind, they're on commercial. Soon as I was about to let you listen in, they cut the break. I'll keep it right here for the moment. I was going to hop back onto Racing Reference and just kind of see what recent races at Martinsville have led for cautions and what to expect coming into the evening, because I did not check before the race began. But I would not be surprised if we see double-digit cautions again tonight. I would honestly be more shocked if we don't, just based off of recent track history with this series at this racetrack. So Austin Hill won the spring race earlier this season. In that race, there were 14 cautions, 14 yellows for 104 caution laps in the spring event earlier this season. Last year in the fall, there was 13 cautions for 84 caution laps. The spring race of last year, there was 11 cautions for 68 laps. The fall race of 2023 had 15 cautions for 101 caution laps. And the spring race of 2023, 10 yellows for 82 laps. 14 cautions in the fall race of 2022 as well. So we've had at least 13 cautions in each of the last 3 fall races at Martinsville. Spring race had 16 cautions in 2022. This is insane. This is a lot of yellows for a 250 lap half-mile short track race. It's 125 miles of racing, and they managed to wreck 13 plus times every time. 13 cautions in the 2021 fall race at Martinsville. 2021 spring race, they had 12 yellows for 75 laps. 10 cautions in 2020 in the fall. That's down. And dating back to 2006, the most in series history, 19 cautions at Martinsville. Yeah, this series went a long time without racing here, probably for the sole fact that there were a lot of yellows. That is insane that every Martinsville race since they came back with the Xfinity cars in 2020 in the fall have had at least 10 yellows. I knew there was a lot. I didn't think it was that much consistently a lot. And there's been 13 plus cautions in each of the last 4 night races at Martinsville in the fall. So, yeah. We're in for a long one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, 17 cautions for 134. That's a good prediction. Think we're going to have one more than usual. Dean Tate, welcome to the stream. Peyton Shelby, welcome to the stream. Race has not started yet, but we're getting there. Still on the pace laps. They'll be going green shortly. So 13 to 16 yellows in the last 4 Martinsville fall races. I'm going to predict we'll be on the lower end of that, and I'm going to go with 13 cautions. But don't be surprised if we get to about lap 200 of 250 and we're already at like 11 or 12 of them, because this has happened many times before. I'm just waiting for somebody who missed the pre-race of today's live commentary stream, and then later they're like, man, geez, they're wrecking a lot tonight. Well, I tried to warn you. This was expected. And a lot of these drivers have a lot to lose tonight in the quest for a championship. 6 teams going for 2 spots. Zilich, Allgaier locked into the championship 4. 2 positions still open. A win and you're in. At least one team will lock in on points. The points difference between Jesse Love in 3rd and Carson Kvapil in 4th is 29 points entering the day. But Kvapil with a good starting position on the front row in 2nd. Did what he needed to do earlier today in qualifying. Now we'll see what he can do in the race. Oh, I don't have a poll up yet. You're right. I'll get it up before the start of the race. I don't have much longer, but I'll get it up. Who will win at Martinsville? I'll throw Eric Almirola in there, since he's a former winner. I'll throw Carson Kvapil in there because he has been good here in the past. I know he hasn't won before, but I think he can have a very, very strong showing. I mean, I should put Zilich just because he's won the most races, but he does start at the rear. Again, he does start dead last, and at Martinsville, probably one of the tougher tracks to start last and still come through the field and win. It's not like an intermediate track with the less amount of competitive cars in the field that he'll be able to get through the field quickly. That's not going to be the case. And this is a one-stop race for fuel, and we don't have a lot of tire fall off, usually, with the Xfinity races at Martinsville, and especially with the colder temperatures that we have under the lights tonight. So track position will be key. AJ Summers, welcome to the stream. Sharitha Cooper, welcome back as well. Sharitha saying 10 yellows. Yeah, I got the driver poll up now. Sorry about not having that up before the stream started, but it's up before the race started. Alrighty. Jojo, welcome to the stream. Luck, but ain't watching the shit show. Have a good night. Yeah, well, he's out because he knows what's expected. Alright. Green flag in the air. We're underway at Martinsville. Harrison Burton on the pole tonight. Alexi inside of row number 1 and leads us to the green. This is definitely going to be a long one, I can tell you that much. This race might be as long as the Cup race tomorrow, and the Cup race is double the laps. I'm ready. That's what happens on a short track on a Saturday night, I guess. When you have 38 cars over 250 laps. Well, the first lap is caution-free, and Harrison Burton from the pole will lead this opening lap. I'm not sure if he's going to have the pace on the long run to keep from cars maybe bottlenecking underneath him. We'll have to wait and see. Mostly single file, top 5 positions, side by side between the two Georgia natives of Austin Hill and Ryan Sieg as they battle for 6th. And Sieg will win that battle. Hill trying to get back down to the bottom, still can't, as now the 11 of Butterbean Queen is underneath him. Burton has now led the first 2 laps of this one. It's just with the lower series, you tend to see a lot more of a younger crop of drivers, and their patience level not to that of, say, at the Cup ranks, usually causes for incidents to be had. Already 3 wide in the middle of the pack. That's usually not going to be a recipe for success at Martinsville. Jesse Love, one of those drivers trying to make those moves. Corey Day backing out of the gas, being smart. Trying not to get involved in an incident like he did in the spring race earlier this season. Almirola setting the fastest lap of the race already. He did get by Quapple a couple laps in. He's now up to 2nd. 20.426 for Almirola. And if one of those playoff drivers could get that bonus point, that'd be huge for him. Xfinity races, I mean, these stages are so short for stage 1 and stage 2. You really need to have a good qualifying run if you're going to want any sort of success there. Sam Mayer was starting deep in the field, obviously not in a great spot already on points. And Sheldon Creed in a must-win situation at least qualified well, and he's up at 5th early on. Carson Quapple has just been passed by Justin Allgaier, so Quapple slipping back just a bit. Oh, Corey Day overdrove the entry to the corner. Looked like he wheel hopped turn 1, slid right into Blaine Perkins, washed him up out of the groove. We do stay green. Well, vehicles falling back just a bit. I don't think Day lost any positions, but definitely lost time, unfortunately, for Perkins. Wrong place at the wrong time, and he lost 2 spots. Now 3 to DiBenedetto, and I guess 4 if you count Corey Day, who made the pass on him with that contact. And Justin Allgaier's just set the fastest lap of the race the last time by now. Not updated that yet, but I did see the ticker on the bottom of the leaderboard for the CW showing that Allgaier has now the fastest lap. 20.39 on lap 8 for Allgaier. A couple laps ago. 11 laps complete this time by at the line. Harrison Burton still out in front. Eric Almirola in 2nd. Justin Allgaier 3rd. Sheldon Creed 4th. And Carson Quapple rounds out the top 5 and 5th as Quapple's losing a bunch of spots off the start. Ryan Sieg and the 11 of Queen also going to get by Quapple, who started on the front row in 2nd. So Carson's struggling. It looks like the back of his car moving around a ton when he's trying to pick the throttle back up again. So corner exit looks to be a little too loose for the 1. I doubt it's because he is playing it safe right now. You want all the points you can get when you're only plus 11 above that cut line. The good news is for him is that Sheldon Creed is the only driver that is above him in the running order, and Creed had the biggest deficit to overcome on points anyway. But you don't want him to win, because if that happens, you're eliminated. Especially if you can't outpoint Jesse Love, who also isn't in the top 10 because he qualified in the back half of the field. Harrison Burton, impressive so far, but he's starting to hold up the veterans of the series, Eric Almirola and Justin Allgaier. Almirola looking to the inside on that left-hand corner panel. Slight bit of contact, nothing major. Harrison gave him a little bit of room. Very tight confines all the way around this racetrack as Burton holds the 19 tight to the bottom of the track. Almirola was not able to get the drive off necessary. We'll see if he ends up using the bumper at some point in time here, because not only the 25 is obviously under attack from Almirola, but the 7 of Allgaier is bearing down on both of them. Lap 16 this time by at the line. Ryan Sieg moving up to 4th, making a pass on Sheldon Creed the last time by. Almirola looks low into 3. Beats Harrison Burton to the inside in the braking zone. Rounds out the bottom of the racetrack, has his nose out in front of the 25 car. Burton leads that lap at the line by a nose still. But Almirola is there as we look for our first lead change of the race. Up off the exit of turn 2, Almirola close to clearing, but Harrison Burton holds strong still on the outside. We'll see if he tries to duck in line to the bottom. It looked like he wanted to, but Justin Allgaier, very late in the braking zone in turn 3, trying to get to the inside of the 25, follow the 19's path. And although he was there for a brief moment, not going to be able to stay there. So Burton holds on for second, and now Allgaier has to make quick work of Burton before Almirola can drive away, as we have that first lead change of the day. So Eric Almirola is now out in front. Carson Kvapil, meanwhile, under duress from another driver. Now it's Brandon Jones and Taylor Gray, the two JGR Toyotas, looking to the inside of Kvapil, who is bleeding positions at a rapid rate here in these early laps. Only a 60-lap opening stage. We're a third of the way through, and he's already fallen from about second back to 8th. Not good for Kvapil. Hey, I'll give him props. We've gone 20 laps and we haven't had a caution yet. Corey Day looking to make a pass on Jesse Love. Those two had contact a few laps ago. Love playing nice. Good news is for Jesse, he's got a 40-point cushion to work with. I mean, a top 20 finish for him today would probably be enough to make it to the next round, especially considering that the drivers behind him in points, there's not many of them in the top 10. And if they are in the top 10, they seem to be outside the top 5. So they're not capitalizing on a ton of stage points. Taylor Gray deep into the corner, washing up the track a little bit. He'll get by Carson Kvapil a couple laps after his teammate Jones got by. Kvapil now all the way back to 9th, and his Junior Motorsport teammate Sammy Smith, who's actually trying to catch Kvapil in points, has now ran him down, gave him a quick bump through 3 and 4. Sammy Smith will look to the inside. Kvapil trying to protect. So far holds on, but I don't think he's not able to show the intervals on our screen at the moment. Not sure what's going on there. But Harrison Burton does still lead, Harrison Burton does not lead this race anymore. Change things up here a little bit. There we go. Eric Almirola leads, and Justin Allgaier was able to get to second. Allgaier's 1.3 seconds back. Harrison Burton 2 seconds off the lead in third. Ryan Sieg 2.6 seconds back in fourth. And Brendan Queen in fifth, 3.3 seconds off the lead. Sheldon Creed is already 4.1 seconds back in sixth. Brandon Jones 4.3 back in seventh. 5 seconds back for Taylor Gray in eighth. 6.1 back for Kvapil in ninth. And 6.5 seconds back Sammy Smith rounding out the top 10. Might just have to keep the regular leaderboard on and not the raw feed, because the raw feed seems to be down at the moment on NASCAR.com. So we'll keep it there. Early going of tonight's race. Side-by-side commercial break still ongoing on the CW. We'll take a quick break of our own. You're listening live to tonight's race coverage. "20 votes have been casted for who you think is going to win tonight's race. And right now, 45% of you say somebody other than Almirola, Kvapil, or Zilich will get the win. Almirola at 30%. Zilich at 20%. Only 5% for Kvapil, who definitely looks the least likely of those 4 voting options so far. Back from commercial almost halfway through stage 1. Almirola slightly extending his lead over Justin Allgaier. He's worked through a couple of lap cars at the tail end of the field as well. Allgaier still holds the fastest lap of the race in the early going. William Sawalich catching up to the 1 and the 8, who continue to battle for 9th. Sammy Smith got into Kvapil quite a bit through turns 1 and 2 a couple laps ago. Then Smith hit the curb up off the exit of the corner, and that kind of slowed his straightaway speed down, and never had a real shot to get back to him again. Now Quapple's got a few car lengths of a separation as we have our first caution. Now Mike Snyder has gone for a spin in the 91. One and two. Snyder up on the outside lane of the racetrack. And it looked like the 48 just kind of washed up into him. I don't know if there might have been contact from Daniel Dye, who was behind Sanchez. It didn't look like it. Looked like Sanchez just slightly missed the corner, and clip of the left rear spins Snyder right around. No contact with the wall, though. He was able to get it locked down in time. Caution is out for the first time today, though, at lap 31 was the timing of the incident. So we made it halfway through stage one without a caution. That was pretty good pace. That is probably going to be the longest green flag run of the race. You know what? I'm going to make my bold prediction here. And no monetary value in this, but I bet to you guys that this is the longest green flag run of the race tonight. I don't think we get 31 laps or more the rest of the night under green. Because even from now to the end of stage one, is it going to be 31 laps? Because we have less than that to go. So you're telling me stage two or stage three is going to have that long of a run? I just don't think it's going to happen. There's obviously the laps to get it done in stage three, but I've seen this time and time over these last 4 years, and even though we went that long without a caution early, I think we're still easily getting 10 plus. Harrison Burton led the first 11 laps of the race today before Eric Almirola was able to take the lead from him. And green flag run is now over. We have our first pit stops of the day. So probably looking to pit here and then flip the stage for stage two. Let's see if some of the playoff drivers maybe stay out and go for stage points. We have pit stops going on during commercial, by the way. They're on pit road, but there is still a side-by-side commercial break on CW. Those reports when they come back from, oh, they're still on commercial. I mean, they're going to be done. They're going to be off the pit road by the time they come back. I haven't seen this before. I have not seen pit stops under caution, and then they're still on commercial break. They're still on commercial. Now there's an Olive Garden ad. They've had 3 ads like in the midst of the pit stops going on right now. It's like the minute I think they're going to come back from break, not there. I mean, they're off the pit road. Got the tail end of the lead lap that's just getting off of the pit lane right now, and they're still on commercial. NASCAR TV circa 2025. Nope, that one wasn't it either. We got another one. What's this one? Xfinity, go figure. As if they didn't have enough sponsorship during the Xfinity series as it is. You know, every driver after their departure from the race or post-race interview always talk about their car was or wasn't as fast as Xfinity 10G. I would think that that's enough for them to have for sponsorship, and they're the title sponsor of the race. They're the sponsor for tomorrow's Cup race too. And got an ad. Now they're back for commercial, and of course we got to get the contingency sponsors in there. Here's Progressive, Toyota GR, Toyota Gazoo, Credit One Bank, of course. Still don't know what happened on pit road yet. There we go. Now they're done. Let's listen in.
On wheeling the official warning lights of NASCAR.
Oh my goodness.
Most trusted manufacturer of emergency lights.
That was painful. Oh no, now we got a wheeling sponsorship, of course. Emergency lights of NASCAR.
Stage one.
There we go. Now we're good.
Cars that made their way to the pit lane. When it's all said and done, it's easier to tell you who stayed out as opposed to who came in. 8 drivers stay on the racetrack, and they'll have the track position when we get the restart just over 20. Significant playoff driver that stays on track. Silich did, but he's already locked into the next round. If Sam Mayer stays out, he's going to restart inside the top 5 here, and that's going to be big for them as they chase stage points. And then you think about those drivers that came down pit road, and can they get back to the top 10 and grab some of those stage points here? This is going to be fascinating.
I think it's a big opportunity for Sam Mayer and their team to have taken this opportunity, because you have Sammy Smith and Carson Quapple back in 16th and 18th right now. Yes, they have newer tires, but truly it could be a question if they get to the stage points, drivers.
Jesse Love, right here on the wheel and onboard camera, speeding on the pit lane. Let's get a look to radio.
So what he's referencing right there is that on the exit we see Connor Zilich having a little bit of damage right here.
Oh,
Oh, pretty good contact right there, and it's been a struggle all night long for the 88. See what he's got here on this restart. You see he's going to start third row outside.
Nick Sanchez got a speeding penalty.
so Zilich trying to flip the field. That's why he's up into the 6th place position for the restart. Brendan Queen is going to be the leader, as he was the first of which that stayed out of the pits. Green flag back in the air. Sam Mayer just shifted the 27 of Jeb Burton way up the racetrack. Burton was outside of row 1. Now he's 3 wide outside of Zilich, and can't tell who that is underneath him. Doesn't matter. He's getting washed wide again. Burton's getting used up by multiple cars, it looks like here. So Justin Allgaier in the 7, who is underneath of Connor Zilich, who would be one of the first on 4 fresh tires, trying to work their way back through the field after pitting. Only about the top 7 or 8 stayed out of the pits entirely there. Sammy Smith trying to move Austin Green up the racetrack on the outside. I mean, there's just no patience for these playoff drivers is what I'm gathering on this restart. They're moving everybody in their way, trying to get any spot they can to hopefully get themselves in position and in the top 10 to get some stage points. Mayer's up in 2nd. A big call to keep Mayer out there on the older tires on the restart. Yes, he's in 2nd, but he does seem to be backing up traffic behind him. 3 wide right now between Justin Allgaier, Anthony Alfredo, and Connor Zilich up off the exit of turn 2. Somehow did not make contact with one another nor the wall. Don't see that happen often when you see 3 wide at Martinsville, especially on these restarts. Brandon Jones right behind that 3-car mess in 8th. Some of the first on 4 fresh tires as he is looking to get himself back in contention. Alfredo blocking off Brandon Jones down to the inside. Nothing there. Jones definitely rolling the back half of the corner better than Alfredo as he tries to beat him down into turns 1 and 2. Mayer's still by 9/10 of a second off of Brendan Queen. 1.6 seconds back to Christian Eckes in 3rd. And Allgaier 1.9 seconds back in 4th. Battling with Eckes. One this time by. Carson Quapple, Ryan Sieg, side by side, a little contact, I should say side by side contact with them. Caution flag is out though behind. Matt DiBenedetto has gone for a spin. So Matty D towards the tail. Oh, sorry, I forgot he's not in the 99 anymore. Connor Mosack in the 99. I apologize for that. I forgot DiBenedetto got let go. Whoops. That I was playing NASCAR 25 earlier, and DiBenedetto was still in that car. Unfortunately for him, he is not in that car anymore. Viking Motorsports. So Connor Mosack going for a spin, who is also doing double duty this weekend. Rookie full-time in the Truck Series, and Mosack getting some extra Xfinity rides here before the end of the year. Seen him in the JGR 18 from time to time this season. 19, excuse me. Especially on road courses. So Connor Mosack going for a spin, our second caution of the race, will easily get a restart before the end of stage 1. For those of you keeping count, that is caution number 2. Far from the last. Only 21 minutes in. We'll have less than 10 laps to go by the time we rack them and stack them for the restart before the end of this next stage. My Red Wings are getting slaughtered right now. They're down 4-0. Second period. They lost 7-2 the other night. After starting the season 5-1, their losses have been really bad, so their plus-minus this year as a team is probably net negative or around even, despite being 5-2. They've lost by 4+ goals in the 2 games they've lost, about to be 3 times now. But they win the close ones. They've had some nail biters already, too. Interested to see if Brendan Queen's going to hold on to win this opening stage. I'll be driving full-time in the Truck Series next year. He's been part-time Xfinity and Trucks. Bounced around between a couple of truck teams, and he'll be racing at Colleague Racing where he's at for this Xfinity Series race tonight, and a couple of them he's ran in recent weeks at the Xfinity Series level. I believe he had a top 10 at Vegas a couple weeks ago. Queen, the ARCA champion this season. Already locked that up, and now we'll just have to look and see if he can get a solid run here at a great track for him. Martinsville Speedway, one that suits his driving style. Coming from the Cars Tour Series, I do believe. That's where he had his breakthrough, his career debut. The Premier Series NASCAR race was a truck race at North Wilkesboro a couple of years ago. So it looks like they're going to stop the race and we're under red flag. That is not correct. Never mind. I saw the red displayed on my graphic there for a very brief moment, but it looks like we're under caution. No stoppage. But again, we are under yellow. Yeah, I saw that too. Looked like just an error on the raw feed. I don't see any more safety equipment on the racetrack, so I'd imagine they'll be getting the 1-to-go signal this time. I mean, I'd be shocked if we get a red flag with as many cautions as we're probably going to see tonight. 2 of them in stage 1, though. We only had 4 cautions for incident in the truck race yesterday, and the first 2 stages still ended up with 11 total by the end of the race. And I've seen that in the past in the Xfinity Series where there's only a couple of cautions in the first 2 stages, and then stage 3, it seems like they can't get a run longer than 10 laps consecutively. That could happen again. So they got to choose the last time by, but then they waved off the restart, so they added another lap of caution. Try to make the situation more tense for drivers in desperate situations via points. We'll have 8 laps to go in stage number 1 on the restart. All right, well, Brendan Queen, Sam Mayer. Side by side. Queen on the inside of row 1 again. Green flag back in the air. Great restart for Justin Allgaier on the inside of row 2, but he just didn't have anywhere to go on the 4 fresh tires. Gets his way up to 3rd and may try to go for the lead. Not going to go 3 wide, though. He's going to be a little bit patient. Constantly pushing the back of that 11 car, trying to get him going on the backstretch. Sam Mayer on old tires trying to hold on as well to the end of the stage. But if Mayer cannot get by Brendan Queen, he's going to have a really tough time trying to keep from losing positions as he'll get shuffled out of line with cars on fresher tires behind him. Almirola side by side with Brandon Jones still. Butterbean Queen slides up the racetrack a little bit through 3 and 4. Mayer and Queen kind of trading laps led back and forth, so we're up to 6 lead changes now. One time, one driver leads at the start-finish line, and then the next lap, the other leads. Mayer's doing a good job. If he can win this stage, maybe he's got a shot to point his way in still. Especially with Carson Kvapil being outside the top 10 right now, who came in last driver above the cut line on points. Sam Mayer clear on Brendan Queen from the outside. If Justin Allgaier gets by the 11 pretty quickly here, Allgaier does have fresher tires than Mayer by about 30 laps. Slight contact and a rub and run pass by Allgaier over Queen. Queen falls to third. 4 laps to go in stage number 1. Quapple still well outside the top 10. Well, I should say well outside. He's battling side by side for 11th. The problem is he's on the outside of Anthony Alfredo, so it's going to be tough to get by him for 11th and then catch Sheldon Creed for 10th, who's a couple car lengths further up ahead. But every point matters here if Quapple can make these couple of passes. Brandon Jones also trying to make passes in a desperate situation. It's just moved up to 5th, getting by Christian Eckes. Mayer may lose the lead to Allgaier with about 2.5 laps left in the stage. They're side by side up off of turn 2. Mayer's got a tire disadvantage, and he's on the outside. He's going to do the smart thing. He's going to drop in line quickly behind Allgaier. Didn't want to waste too much more time because Almirola's got to run after him now with 2 to go in the stage. Almirola is still on the inside of Queen. Oh, Mayer overdrives the corner. Big time. Big wheel hop. That's going to cost him several points. He falls from 2nd to 5th. And now only a lap left in the stage this time by. Brandon Jones is going to get by the 41. That is a huge loss for Sam Mayer. A mistake that did not need to be made, and one that's going to cost him about 4 points. Because now we're on the final lap of stage 2. Back in the field, Daniel Dye slides way up the racetrack and moves Quapple into 11th. He's still 1 spot out of 10th with Corey Day in front of him. Green-white checkered flag in the air for Justin Allgaier as Allgaier wins stage 1. Second is Eric Almirola, Brennan Queen 3rd, Brandon Jones 4th, Sam Mayer 5th. Connor Zilich in 6th, but he hasn't pit yet today. Harrison Burton 7th after starting on the pole. Christian Eckes in 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, Corey Day rounds out the top 10. So no points for Quapple. 2 for Sheldon Creed. As I'll update the points. So Creed will be minus 39 going into the next stage. Sam Mayer gets 5th place stage points at 6. Could have had 9, so he lost 3 points. 6 is going to knock him to 16 out. And Brandon Jones got 7 points for finishing 4th there. So he's 14 back. Sammy Smith didn't get any. Quapple didn't get any. Jesse Love didn't get any. So Love, Quapple, Sammy Smith did not get stage points. Of the drivers that are still trying to go for the championship 4 spots, I'm not counting Zilich and Allgaier because they're locked into the championship 4 already. And then Jones, Mayer, Creed all got points. 2 for Creed. Mayer gets 6 rather, and Jones gets 7. So the points are updated at the top of the screen now. It has narrowed a bit. The gap between Sammy Smith and Carson Quapple is still 11 points. But then the positions behind them, Sam Mayer 16 out, 14 out, Brandon Jones, and Sheldon Creed out 39. Stage 1, I said stage 2. I meant stage 1, yes. Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in. Terry Lewis, Frederico Sanchez, thanks for watching. Had about 90 people watching at the end of the stage. Already up to 41 likes on the stream. We'll see if we can get that to 100 by the end. The Red Wings scored in the second period. Now it's 4-1. There we go. It's almost hockey season full time for me. As NASCAR wraps up here. I watch a lot of hockey during the week. But there's no racing on the weekends. And it's nice because they play in the afternoon a lot, on the weekends. So, to watch that. Watch my Green Bay Packers more regular now. So Justin Allgaier, Eric Almirola, Brennan Queen, Brandon Jones, top 4 at the end of stage 1. Stage yellow will be our third caution of the night. Showing 5 lead changes. We did have 6 that were scored. Now, for some reason, it's saying 5. And they had 6 before Allgaier even took the lead. So they might have retracted 2 of them. I wonder how many laps Sam Mayer actually got credited with leading. Mayer got credited with 4 laps led, 18 for Queen. 17 for Almirola, 9 for Allgaier at this point in the race, and 16 for Harrison Burton from the pole. 1 for Daniel Dye, which was, I believe, during caution when everybody was on pit road of those that pitted. So 6 different drivers have led at least 1 lap already, but only 5 lead changes. So that, I mean, the only way that would be accurate is if Queen and Mayer didn't actually lead change back and forth several times and it was just the one. I don't know. I can only read the stats that they give me. And I just got to assume that they're correct. Sam Mayer in the pits.
A little bit loose laterally in the back, so they'll make an adjustment here. They pitted, or they were 18th on that cycle there before the stops started, so we'll see kind of where they cycle out here, Kim.
And you see on the left side of your screen, the 11 of Brennan Queen. He said fired off too tight but manageable, no adjustments. Right side of the screen is teammate Christian Eckes making a chassis adjustment, a little bit slow there on the right front, but he said something seriously wrong with the front end, really bad on exit, completely disconnected on exit. They didn't make that chassis adjustment.
All right, so a few drivers who have not been to pit road yet got to pit during the stage break who tried to stay out to get some stage points. Obviously, Mayer in a needful situation of those points. But now he's going to give up track position for stage 2. I'd imagine we'll have more field flipping in the second stage. I doubt we go caution-free here. I still believe that 31-lap green flag run at the start is going to be the longest green flag run of the race. I'm holding myself to it. Already had 8 laps go by under the stage yellow. I don't know why this caution flag is taking longer than the other cautions we've had today that were for spins, when there wasn't an actual incident. Guess we got to get those ads in. Should be the ad 250. Not the IAA and Ritchie Bros 250. Sorry to the IAA and Ritchie Bros who paid for their title sponsorship for this race, but no, I don't do cards. Find a Blaney autograph, race use one. Send them to you. If you don't mind. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I mean, you're more than welcome to keep that for yourself. Seems like some cool memorabilia. Yeah, I haven't really collected cards since I was a kid. I didn't really get NASCAR cards. I more just had like the 1/64 scale diecast that I like played with as a kid. And any other cards that I ever collected when I was younger were either baseball, football, pretty much any other like stick and ball sport when it came to the 4 big ones in America at least. Your hockey, your baseball, football, basketball, but I think I had some NASCAR cards in there, but nothing crazy. At least I don't think. Still under a full screen commercial break. Seriously, what is taking the stage caution so long? We should not be under caution for 11 laps during a stage break. I get it's a half-mile short track. 11 laps for a stage caution? We had 2 spins earlier that combined for 11 laps under caution. Under 2 separate yellows. And this stage caution has been the same amount of time that both of those took together. For no incident. There's no cleanup needed. This is the Keegan bitch about... this is the Keegan bitches about NASCAR officiating and commercials 250 at Martinsville. That should have been the title sponsor of today's race. I'm complaining about it more for the comedy reasons. I wouldn't necessarily consider it a rant. I'm an even keeled person. I just love my NASCAR, you know? Get passionate about it. I want what's best for them. And what's best for them is not 12 laps of stage caution and 2 full ad screen breaks during pit stops. Well, we're at 3 yellows. We're guaranteed 1 more for the lap 20 stage 2 end. We're only on lap 74 of 250. Long ways to go. Allgaier has shifted up to the inside of row 1 now. Brandon Jones on the outside of row number 1. Green flag will be back in the air. It's the first time Allgaier has led today with winning stage 1, staying out of the pits, keeping that track position. That's why he pitted during the first caution midway through stage 1 so he could stay out, and he was able to race his way to the front of the field first of anybody on those 4 fresh tires at the time. Connor Zilic has not been to pit road yet, still stays in 6th, trying to make this race on 1 stop, I do believe. For fuel purposes and with the caution laps ran already, he should easily be able to do that. We'll just have to see if his tires can hold on and keep him up there in the running order. Remember, he started dead last on the day, so that team's doing whatever they can to just get track position, and then they'll get back on the even tire strategy, hopefully at the end of stage 2 or whatever happens with cautions, maybe around the end of the stage and whatnot, for strategy purposes. Allgaier leading the first few green flag laps of stage number 2 so far. Justin Allgaier leads. Brandon Jones in 2nd. Eric Almirola 3rd. Connor Zilic is in 5th now. Looks like Harrison Burton scored in 4th that time by the line. So then Zilic in 5th. Corey Day's up to 6th. Sheldon Creed in 7th. Carson Quapple 8th. Anthony Alfredo 9th. And Taylor Gray rounds out our current top 10.
In the bottom portion of the nose. And so you don't want to make that worse. That's one of the things that Connor in the spring race earlier this year, he was super fast, but got put back in the pack and damaged that race car coming back through the pack. And Sheldon Creek, Stitch Lemon. Connor pulled down, tried to get in behind the 25. Sheldon said, "No, sir. I know you're on older tires. Hey, like you're holding something." Sheldon's loose on entry on the brakes. Did you see his hand there? Told me it's number 1. Well, everyone's friends. Yeah. What about the 1 car? There's been a time of struggle, and all of a sudden, seems like that car's getting a little bit better as the race goes on. They were way off, way too tight, made some adjustments, and it seemed like they were where they needed to be. But on these tires, as they've cycled, he's just knocking on. You go, Sheldon. He got there by moving in, and 88's now going to race him hard as he can. There's a lot of ways to send a message, and one of them is to squeeze that inside car. Absolutely. And that's exactly what Connor's doing. It doesn't mean you have to hit each other to send a message. Sometimes it's just not giving them the space to race.
Playoff drivers going at it. Zilic locked into Phoenix. Creed needs to win if he's going to run for a championship. Carson Quapple comes in plus 11. Stage 1, as Jamie said, a little shaky. Right now, he's at plus 3 and riding back there in the 7th position. And now, left side of your screen, battle for the race lead. All he's got it, but Brandon Jones is right there. Boy, how storybook would this be for Brandon Jones to walk it off and go run for a title?
And the one thing to watch, and I mentioned this earlier, watching cars try to pass, it was the 19 trying to go for the lead. When you're in the car behind, the way you set up the pass here is to enter, either get all the way inside of them or you enter just a little bit wider. See how he's a little bit wider here? He's going to try to time this out where he turns down. It takes a few laps, though, and you've got to hope that car in front of you is doing the same thing over and over again. You're just trying to get the timing down to get that pass made.
I feel like Sheldon Creed is ahead of schedule. Their stage performance hasn't been great in the playoffs. He's up to 5th after getting by Connor Zilic. Carson Quapple gets by now. The 1 is in 6th. And Taylor Gray, 54, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. So strong here in the springtime. Got a good card tonight. The rookies are going at it. Back to the battle for the lead. A bunch of veterans here. Allgaier, Jones, and now Almirola part of the scene.
Let me back up. There's multiple ways to pass here. The other way is to run into him just a little bit. About that race. He's trying to do it the right way, the way you do it early in the race. Brandon Jones has a great car tonight, and Allgaier's doing all the right things to stay in front of him.
And you saw his right hand go down there, make a little adjustment to the brake bias. You'll do that, especially when you're following a car as closely as he is to Justin Allgaier, trying to continue to keep the pace in that race car over the run, make small adjustments to it. You'll do that with your line. You'll do that with the brake bias, and you also do that with your right foot. When you talk about trying to get that drive off, sometimes it's about taking care of those rear tires so they're better at the end of this run.
Watch this battle right of your screen. 39, Ryan Sieg. 17 is Corey Day. They're getting after it. Sieg pushed him out of the way. And I think this is saying, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you slide back in here.
Well, sometimes you get into somebody, you let them go, and you're like, we're even. I want you to forget what just happened. We're all even now.
Really impressed with Corey Day. One of those drivers that came down in lap 34, flipped the stage, gained some track position, got a fast race car. Driving for Hendrick Motorsports, an organization that has such a storied history here at Martinsville at the Cup level.
See Ryan Sieg. I would say he was there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit late on the brakes. Maybe they told Corey at the last second. But you got to give Sieg credit because,
Well, that's actually, I would say he was sort of there. The way that works in turn one is the predominant line is to sort of do what Corey was doing. You gives you the opportunity by the behind car to sort of shortcut to the inside. It's not the best way to enter that corner, and it can get awkward there because that outside driver thinks he's sort of clear at that point and is committed to the corner. The inside driver is going to get there at the worst possible point.
now Eric's going to get inside. The 20 struggled to get on the exit of turns 4. See how hard Brandon races it. He thinks his footwear's still there. Maybe just had one back corner if he knows the handling's going away on that 20. He's not in a must-win situation. He wants to get as many points as he can. But this is a situation where I talked about on that restart where Brandon or Eric let Brandon get in. When you get to this point, you're like, okay, you did me a favor. I'll do you a favor. Dylan, do you have more on the 20? Yeah, let's give you a Toyota driver update on Brandon Jones. Just want to go back to the quote that Sam McCauley, the crew chief, told me earlier today. Said, we're going to tweak on the balance a little bit before the race and pick a few off and stage one. They've done that. Just wants to pick up the throttle a little bit better. Now, great pit stops. I told you earlier, they've already done that. Then they want to be top 3 by the end of stage 2 and then go race for it. They're on their way to that, too. So, and Jamie, you mentioned it. They don't feel like this is a must win, but you must have an aggressive mindset. They know they can win here. The car is good enough. They just got to keep themselves in the hunt all day. They've done it so far.
Jeb
Caution
Burton.
out, fourth one of the night. Comes at the midway point of stage 2, and it's for the 27 of Jeb Burton, who's running 23rd, and he's about to make a pit stop.
Flat left rear tire on Jeb Burton, probably the cause of the spin. Looked like he might have had some contact. Definitely a lot of donuts on the left side of his race car. I've seen him get shuffled out of line a couple of times. He was actually on the front row of the restart to begin stage 2. Or sorry, no, that was one of the restarts towards the end of stage 1 of those that stayed out of the pits at that time. Contact came from before. The spin was definitely because of that flat left rear tire. He was already in the outside lane by himself and lost it on corner entry. So caution flag is out yet again here at the Martinsville Speedway. Our 4th caution of the night on lap 93 of 250. Second stage. Burton has made his way to pit road. To wait to see pit road open, I would imagine we may see some teams pit here. Fuel window may be open to the end of the race.
Progressive pit road and Dylan.
And here's Eric Almirola pits from second. Said his entry and exit were good. He just needed more rotation in the center. Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Brandon Jones there second from the top. Said his car was loose off, but mainly because the front isn't rotating. They'll make some changes to help that, Kim.
You see second from the bottom, Harrison Burton having a great run tonight. Just tight center, then entry and exit gets a little bit loose. Then Justin Allgaier there on the bottom said, really good, but I lose the right front when the track rubber gets laid down. So no major adjustments for the 7. They'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel.
We did have a host of cars that stayed on the racetrack. Jesse Love in that number 1 pit stall getting his service. Race off Progressive Pit Road. Allgaier holds serve. Will reset where he is in the running order when we come back to Martinsville.
All right, so Justin Allgaier wins the race off of pit road. Have to wait to see exactly how many cars stayed out of the pits. At least the top 6 did. It looks like the top 11 cars, maybe 10. I saw Kyle Sieg just come onto pit road the next time. Whoa, it's 4-3 Detroit now. That's unbelievable. My Red Wings were down 4-0 in the second period, and now it's 4-3 at the intermission. They still got 1 period left after this. Scored 2 goals in the final minute and a half of the period. I get score alerts, so that's a wild one. Just as we have a wild one here in Martinsville as well. So top 10 cars stayed out of the pits. Allgaier in 11th will be the first on 4 fresh tires. Carson Kvapil stays out after getting no stage points at stage 1 despite qualifying on the front row. Trying to go on strategy to get the stage points for stage 2. So it'll be Kvapil in the lead, Anthony Alfredo second, Brendan Queen back up to third, Nick Sanchez fourth, Christian Eckes is going to be fifth on the restart, Sam Mayer in sixth, Parker Retzlaff in seventh, Ryan Ellis eighth, Austin Green ninth, Garrett Smithley 10th. Then the first 2 on fresh tires will be Justin Allgaier in 11th and Brandon Jones in 12th. Got almost 100 people watching. Appreciate everybody tuning in concurrently. We'll take a break while they're still under commercial, awaiting the restart here in the back half of stage 2 in the IAA and Ritchie Bros 250. Ooh, our chat poll's tight. Top 3 of the voting poll right now, all within 8% of one another. Remember, that closes at the end of stage 2. Yeah, Connor Zilic leads the poll, believe it or not. Chris Davis, welcome to the stream. Pulling for Carson Kvapil to make it on into the Championship 4. You know, if Carson Kvapil makes it to the Championship 4, we're going to have 2 drivers, one in the Xfinity Series and one in the Truck Series, that have never had a win in their careers in that series. And they'll be racing for a championship next weekend at Phoenix. Is that another penalty on the 2 team? First, a speeding penalty for Jesse Love, and then the uncontrolled tire penalty. Good news is he was 40 points above the cut line coming into the day. Kvapil inside of row 1 for the restart. We're going to have 22 laps to go in the stage. Green flag back in the air. Kvapil leads as they barrel off into turns 1 and 2. And he's going to be clear up off the exit of the corner on Butterbean Queen. Side by side for third, Anthony Alfredo, Christian Eckes in the field. And then for 5th, battle ongoing with Sam Mayer on the outside, Nick Sanchez. Mayer trying to get all the stage points he can on pit strategy for the second consecutive stage. Lost a few of them on the second to last lap of stage 1. Brandon Jones on fresh tires trying to get back up into the top 10. And I believe he is second in the running order of those on the fresh Goodyears. Justin Allgaier a couple positions ahead of him yet. A lot of 3-wide racing of those on 4 fresh Goodyears mixing in with some on old tires just outside the top 10 back there. Sammy Smith, Corey Day, Garrett Smithley 3-wide. Zilic outside of 3-wide with the 24. I couldn't tell what other car was below him, but there was another one there. Might have been Harrison Burton in the 25. Burton got through everybody. Sam Mayer going to win the battle on Nick Sanchez for 5th around that outside. I'll tell you what, if any driver I've seen stuck on the top lane today, Sam Mayer is really rolling it well. Jones gets by Ryan Ellis. Still a little bit outside the top 10. Sheldon Creed and Eric Almirola are very tightly behind him. Yeah, we did get to 50 likes already. Only stage 2. See if we can get to 100 by the end of the race. Halfway there, and we still got over half the race remaining. 16 to go in stage 2 this time by. Quapple's lead is 0.4 of a second over Brennan Queen. 0.8 of a second to Christian Eckes in 3rd. Anthony Alfredo is 2.1 seconds back, still in 4th, and Sam Mayer 1.6 seconds 5th, right there with Alfredo. TV is about a lap and a half behind the raw feed. That is currently showing on screen. A little bit more than it usually would be behind. Some of that being a short track. Jesse Love. He can't get out of the way of traffic, even at the very tail end of the field. Just trying to ride around, stay out of trouble at this point. Stay on the lead lap, which he should easily be able to do at the end of the stage. Mayer going after Alfredo, trying to get another spot, another point. Needs it too, with Quapple leading the stage. That was a great call for that one team to stay out of the pits here, because if he wins the stage, he's going to actually pull away more in the points on Mayer. Jones, who outpointed him in stage 1 by quite a bit. And then ultimately, he's going to be in a decent spot to make it to the championship 4, assuming one of those 4 drivers below the cut line doesn't win. And of any driver so far that I've seen via the eye test that could go out here and win this race, it would be Brandon Jones. I mean, Brandon Jones legitimately has a top 3 car. I don't think he's as good as a 7, and he's probably faster than the 19 on the short run, but it seems like Almirola is better on the longer run right now. Those are the 2 he's in competition with right now for the race win. And the 19 being a teammate, I think he could beat him solely off of that alone. I think he's just got to straight up beat the 7 of Allgaier. And as of right now, he's only a couple car lengths behind him with Taylor Gray in between. A lot of racing to go, but Jones could go out here and legitimately win the race. And for that reason, Quapple would need to outpoint Jesse Love by 29. There is still that possibility that Quapple could catch Love in points. Love has not gotten any stage points today. A speeding penalty in stage 1, an uncontrolled tire penalty now in stage 2, which has cost him any sort of chance of getting stage points right now. Jesse Love is still outside the top 25 as they run in this stage. Quapple leads. He did outpoint him by 29. Quapple going to get 10 points. He would still have to outpoint Jesse Love by 19 positions. But it's not impossible. I mean, Love finishes 18th. Well, I guess that would still be enough to get him because it would be 19 points. But let's say Love finishes where he's at right now in 31st. He's out. I mean, Love is struggling. Bad. Allgaier still has the fastest lap bonus point award. That's still the lap early in the race on lap 8, 20.389. He was actually running in 3rd place at the time of that. Had enough clean air in front of him to put down a heater of a lap. Brandon Jones going to get by Anthony Alfredo. Eric Almirola just behind him. And I believe moved Jones up to 6th. Almirola looking to pick up a spot. Sheldon Creed back up in the top 10. Creed's had decent speed today, too. I don't think he's as fast as the 20, but he's kind of hanging in there. I mean, I'd probably say he's got a 4th or 5th place race car compared to the ones that are faster than him right now. But if we get caution after caution late in the race, which we tend to see a lot, maybe he's able to shuffle his way forward. And I think Creed will be willing to do whatever it takes to get a win. I've seen that at this track before, and I've seen it other places as well. Quapple still a half a second ahead of Queen out in front of the field. Mayer about a half a second ahead of Allgaier, who's up to 5th. With a few laps left in the stage. Taylor Gray actually did the inside of Allgaier. Remember, Gray had a shot to go for a win at Martinsville back in the spring and got dumped by Sammy Smith at Junior Motorsports. Neither one of those two went on to win the race. And Gray outright just passed Justin Allgaier. Gray led almost 100 laps in that race back in the spring. And now he leads of the drivers who pitted during the last caution. Up to 5th is Taylor Gray. And he's got to come from nowhere. He was in the back half of the top 10 in stage 1 for the most part. Wasn't up there with the 7, the 20, or the 19, and now he's in front of them all. Job well done for Taylor Gray. Final lap of stage 2. Carson Quapple going to hold on, and major adjustment changes have been made to that one car because after free falling positions in stage 1, they made it to their first pit stop, made the massive adjustments. They stayed out for pit strategy purposes during a mid-stage caution in stage 2, and Quapple goes on to win the second stage. Brendan Queen in second, Christian Eck is third, Sam Mayer fourth, Taylor Gray rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Justin Allgaier in 6th, Brandon Jones 7th, Eric Almirola 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, Anthony Alfredo rounds out the top 10. All right, well, Quapple, 10 points for him. Outpoints Sam Mayer by 3. Try to update this for you guys at the top of the screen. So Quapple gets 10 points there. Sammy Smith didn't get any, so he's minus 21. Brandon Jones rather only gets 4 points, so he loses out on 6. Let's see, 21 Smith. Brandon Jones. It's 20 back. Mayer was 16. Loses 319 for him. Okay. I've got it now. Well, I'm getting there. Jesse Love didn't get any. Plus 19 for Quapple. Jesse Love. I believe it would be plus 30. No, that's not right. He's 19 ahead of Quapple. Yeah, because the cut line moved a little bit. I see now. So it should be 38. All right. So going into the final stage, I've got Jesse Love 38 points to the good, which means he is locked in as long as we don't get a new winner, and Quapple doesn't outpoint him by 19 positions. So Quapple would have to beat Love by 19 positions, and we'd have to have a new winner for Jesse Love not to make the championship 4. And as for Carson Quapple, if we don't see another new winner, he would just have to finish within 19 positions of Sam Mayer, 20 positions of Brandon Jones, or 21 positions of Sheldon Creed, or Sammy Smith, excuse me. And Sheldon Creed is now in must-win territory. Win. 70 car getting hooked up on a wrecker. Not sure what happened between the 70. Oh boy. Looked like the 70 dropped an engine on the front stretch right in front of Daniel Dye. And I couldn't tell who that was that packed it into Dye. That was interesting. Yeah, so again, the points scrolling across the top of the screen, that is based off the stage points scored. So I've narrowed it down to the number net negative is how many points they would have to basically beat Carson Quapple by, other than Creed, who's in a must-win situation mathematically now. And then Jesse Love is locked in on points unless we get a new winner, and Quapple beats Love by 19 spots, which I think that is maybe the most likely thing to happen based off of where Quapple's running currently and where Love's at. Because Quapple leads. That could be the new... Well, see, if Quapple's the new winner, nobody else can catch Love on points, so that would be okay for Love. It's kind of a weird circumstance where if for whatever reason Quapple's racing like Brandon Jones for the win, even if Quapple is more than 19 positions ahead of Love, if Quapple wins, then he would get in and nobody else could outpoint Love. So he'd almost rather Quapple win at that point rather than finish second. Assuming Love's still outside the top 20. Which I don't think he's cracked the top 20 at all today. All right. Yep. 5 yellows so far. Lap 130 to 250. We're on a good pace right now. But we could easily get 5 cautions in this final stage to get back to double digits. And I still think we're going to get 13 yellows. I'm not changing my decision on that. I still think we get 13 yellows. That means 8 cautions in stage 3. Honestly, that probably means we're going to have a couple of overtimes, but I'm not ruling that out. We've had 40 laps of caution, and 2 of the yellows have been stage breaks. And those have been the 2 longest yellows today. Now, they did have to hook up the 70, and there was some fluid to clean up this time. So I'll cut them a little bit of slack, but I mean, they need to abolish these stage cautions. They add too much time to the like. We're talking 20 minutes of total time over the course of the race because of stage cautions. You know, there are fans out there that want shorter races. Well, eliminate the stage yellows. That makes the race 20 minutes quicker.
Continue from Las Vegas. Then tomorrow, the PBR Team Series crowns a champion. CW Sports Weekend brought to you by Marriott continues next on the CW. It's cool, but it's a beautiful night here in Martinsville, Virginia. Martinsville Speedway hosting the NASCAR Xfinity Series final race in the round of 8. Who's going to Phoenix to run for the championship? Been a good night for Carson Quapple. Played a little strategy, wins the second stage. Got to believe he's going to be on pit road when it opens. Some of those drivers behind him, you know, you felt like conventionally, yes, they would come. Been getting reports Sam Mayer may stay out here, and some of those drivers that had already made pit stops prior to the end of the stage, you think will stay out as well. But so much to break down as we go throughout the rest of the night from a strategy standpoint. We'll see how it plays. For now, let's get an update from Dylan Welch.
Well, Adam, we want to bring awareness to a good cause going on tonight. October is recognized in the U.S. as Spina Bifida Awareness Month. That literally means split spine. It's a birth defect that occurs in the womb when a baby's spinal cord does not close all the way. And lifelong NASCAR fan Richard Jenkins is one of those affected. He's a big advocate for awareness. He's an honorary crew member for Sammy Smith's team this weekend. You see him here pre-race. His name is on the right side door of this race car, and he got to spend some time with Sammy earlier today. If you haven't seen the video on the NASCAR social channels, I encourage you to do so. Sammy, Kelly Earnhardt Miller, Steve Phelps, Martinsville track president Clay Campbell surprised Richard with the news of his crew member status. Really cool stuff, and he's a great NASCAR fan, great supporter, and great to have him here at the track today.
You said the video was moving. I encourage everyone to go check that out. Progressive Pit Road is open. Quapple and others making their stops as we wrap things up in Stage 2. Kim?
And a big stage 2 for Carson Quapple, who wins it, banks those 10 points, going towards making that championship 4 spot. He said so tight. He's been tight this entire race. So tight, in fact, he can't get the car pointed how he wants it. So Andrew Overstreet, the crew chief, said we're going to do a major chassis adjustment. You see the wrench going in the back of the race car right there. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Brendan Queen on the right side of your screen said it just snapped free all of a sudden. I did not have enough right rear security. They did make an air pressure adjustment to correct that.
You know, we were just talking here about the Queen pit stop. He was really close to being out of his pit box there when he made the stop. If he is penalized, he would drop to the rear as you pay your debt to NASCAR. But I would also say that there were so many drivers that stayed out, he wouldn't have to drop back very far. What'd you notice here, partner?
Well, Carson Quapple was sitting there for a long time there, and I think they got the wrench stuck in the right rear. They were trying to make those adjustments. Kim mentioned how tight he's been. They've done a lot of adjustments on this race car, especially with the track bar and wedge that you could do within the right rear. You can see this wrench, and he goes to the next hole, and it gets stuck. So they have a slower stop here.
Looked like they did wedge the first round. They tried to do the track bar maybe and couldn't get it.
Yeah, and now he goes back over.
They're going to take their time to do it.
Okay, there you go. So basically they felt like maybe the stop was so slow, and you see this crew member struggling.
Yeah, the adjuster is like bound up right there.
Yeah.
One of the 17 cars that made a pit stop, Kim.
Yeah, they didn't quite get the full adjustment they wanted. Crew chief Andrew Overstreet came on the radio and said, we didn't want to leave you with just a quarter of adjustment, knowing how bad you needed the car freed up. So elected to keep him a little bit longer to make sure they got the full adjustment before sending him back out.
I also want to make the point, the 18 made a pit stop there. Justin Bonsignor was on the pit lane in for William Sawalich, who's dealing with concussion symptoms after a crash last week at Talladega. We send our well wishes to William. Hopefully we'll see you for the season finale next weekend at Phoenix. And now we go to the CW Garage in Carlo.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And of course, a good time after that pit stop to take a check in on the Bristol-Myers split playoff standings and how things are running right now. If Sam Mayer continues to be the leader, of course, he's going to be locked into the championship four. Jesse Love would be as well, and Carson Quapple, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, Sheldon Creed, would be out. Also, a great reminder that if you're going to stay up with us for the third and final stage, you might want to grab a snack or a coffee because the hotline is on as we head into the final stage. Be sure to stay tuned for the winter burnout presented by Krispy Kreme and learn how Krispy Kreme can help you full up on Monday.
I saw Carl working those donuts earlier. Yeah. And saying
She had her eye on them all night.
this is the best marketing ever.
Yeah.
That's good. Krispy Kreme donuts sponsor the donuts. I know when we did this last week, I'm like, oh my God, marketing genius. I love it. Their coffee would be good right now for some of these
Anything
people.
more? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, one of those hot dogs. I mean, coffee's good, but
I'm not saying hot dog. We're talking about donuts. You're not going to talk about a hot dog.
no, the coffee's good.
Oh, he was definitely.
Donut.
Okay.
Just warms me up as well. You
We're
know?
going to go with a hot dog.
No. Hey, how about this? Sam Mayer stays out. Now, we were talking about drivers that had made their pit stop, and we thought everything would cycle through. Mayer realizes the situation he is in, not a lot of tire wear. He stays out, 41 in control of this race. Final stage coming at Martinsville, and this is when things get wild.
Great launch right there by Sam Mayer. Hopefully can clear the 54 down here in turns 1 and 2. And the 54 might get down behind him. Be a great move. Try to move him off the bottom. Yeah.
Didn't quite want to get there.
Oh, there it is.
There he goes. He slots in right ahead of Justin Allgaier. I think he thought about trying to stay out there knowing he has a bit of a tire advantage. We don't think tire's worth a team tonight, these cold temperatures, but still probably wanted to see if it was possible to go around the outside and slots it by.
And Gray missed that corner. Drove down in there. You got to think maybe didn't have enough desires, but missed turns 1 and 2 and allowed the 7 to get inside of him. And you see right there in front, 7 did get inside of the 54. Now Eric's going to ball on through in the 19. 54 has to work hard to get back down to the bottom.
Sam Mayer's loving this. Look at the gap he's got these guys, knowing his tire situation and his point situation. He loves to see them all side by side behind and set sail.
Look at our bumper in the top 10, littered with playoff drivers. So much on the line for those drivers highlighted in blue and green. Green for Allgaier because he's locked into the Champ 4, but all those others need to find their way to a good finish so they can have a chance to run for a championship. Some of them need to get to victory lane tonight.
And Parker mentioned Mayer loving this. He's running 2 to 3 tenths a lap quicker. And what that really is going to buy him is not having to get the brakes really hot, not sliding the back of the car. We've heard all these guys talk about being too loose on entry. He can run these decent lap times, and as long as those guys run side by side, he's going to continue to build a little bit of a lead and be able to manage his race.
And on the bottom right of your screen, look at Jesse Love and Carson Quapple. Carson Quapple goes from winning the stage to being back here 24th right now in just serious 2x2 traffic trying to work his way forward. This is where you have to be so patient, so smart, not to abuse that race car too much. Don't get a tire cut down. You eventually think you'll work your way forward, but you got to be smart here.
Jesse Love's nerves are going to be shot when this is over. He has had an adventurous day. The pit stop issues. And goes up the track. You see all those guys getting inside of him right here.
Teammates right here, Brandon Jones, Taylor Gray, both driver Joe Gibbs Racing.
We'll have to go back and look at that and see, did Allgaier get loose underneath him? Did he wheel hop on the entry to the corner? Those guys had run side by side for multiple laps. Get a look at this right here. You know what? It almost looks like what happened to Mayer earlier. It's like Gray pulled down to get it behind him, and then when they got on the brakes, he had to get on the brakes harder than he wanted to.
You see the puffs of smoke, that's just a little bit of brake lockup. It seems like the rear's got a little locked. He went up the racetrack just a bit, and that can happen when you go from the outside to try to get down to the bottom. The car is all unsettled. It sits awkwardly when you hit the brake. It's not as settled as it normally would be on a particular normal lap, and therefore the car can get out of shape, and that's what happened to him.
Ryan Sieg having a good night. 39 looking inside of the 8 of Sammy Smith. This for 6th on track.
Sieg's having a great night. Every time we go to him, he's passing somebody. He's going the right direction. Had a great night. We saw him have a little bit of contact with Corey Day earlier in the race, but yeah, easy pass right there on the 8 car and going on.
Well, that team needs it. I mean, they had the DNF last Saturday at Talladega. They were top 10 at Las Vegas. That was their first top 10 since Iowa back in August. So this team really did not have a strong finish to the regular season, missed out on the playoffs, hoping to finish 2025 with some momentum. Taylor Gray not giving it up. And now we flash back to these playoff drivers that have compromised their track position. 2 is Jesse Love. 1 is Carson Quapple, and they're racing with the non-playoff driver. That's the 16 Christian Eckes you saw in front of him. Won both truck races here a year ago.
You heard Jesse Love lift off the throttle there, just let Carson Koppel go to slot in behind him. Since we last saw these guys, we mentioned Carson Koppel's in 24th. He's now 22nd, working on 21st. This is how hard it is to drive through the field. This is a car that won stage 2, but it's spot by spot. It's one at a time that you work your way forward here. It can be incredibly tough to make up that track position.
And I would say this too, as you look at the standings and you see Quapple at minus 17, 18, don't freak out. Because the reason he's that far below the cut line after coming in plus 11 and winning a stage is because Mayer is leading this race from below the cut line. That shoves everything down. If something changes at the front, and we know the guys behind Mayer have pressure tires, that will allow Quapple to cycle through on the leaderboard. He just needs to be patient. Right now he's behind 3 wide. 10 is Daniel Dye, 42 Anthony Alfredo, 11 Brendan Queen.
Let's hit the curve.
We're going to get a caution soon.
Carson in a terrible position, 3 wide. These are all these. You got to take care of your Carson Quapple, and somehow he gets through there without getting any damage.
Had good momentum off the corner. He's able to get back down in front of Christian Eckes. And they've done a really good job on the one part. Boy, I'm just really impressed from where the one started to where he is. Look at these guys 3 wide. You see Alfredo on the inside.
They were door slamming. And for how bad this all looked, then you get a little bit of bumper tag here. That puts Daniel Dye in the curve. Barnes was trying to get it alone, couldn't do that. I feel like this did work out the best as we could. Really, considering how bad it looked. Yeah.
And look at this for second. Justin Allgaier under attack. Almirola goes through. His teammate Taylor Gray is bouncing back. He's going to get a spot. Brandon Jones says, let's make it 3 from James Yard. Not so bad. 7 slams the door shut.
You got it. Dude, the 54. He's
Really
really good. The fact that he lost those positions and now has been able to drive back up through there and pass a couple of really good cars. This thing runs green. That 54 is no doubt. Look at how fast he is right there through the middle of the corner on his teammate, Eric Almirola.
NASCAR Xfinity Series raced here in 06. Didn't come back till 2020. 10 races in the last 5 years at this place. 6 of them won by Joe Gibbs Racing. They got 3 in the top 5 tonight.
94 laps to go this time by. Sam Mayer leads. Eric Almirola in second. Taylor Gray third. Justin Allgaier fourth. And Brandon Jones rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Sixth is Ryan Sieg. Sammy Smith in seventh. Harrison Burton in eighth. Ninth is Sheldon Creed. And rounding out the top 10 is Patrick Staropoli. 11th is Corey Day. Dean Thompson in 12th. Justin Bonsignore 13th. Myatt Snyder in 14th. And Blaine Perkins 15th. Brennan Poole 16th. 17th. Brendan Queen. Anthony Alfredo 18th, Carson Quapple 19th, Austin Hill 20th, Connor Zilich in 21st, 22nd, Christian Eckes, Parker Retzlaff 23rd, Austin Green 24th, Daniel Dye 25th, Jeb Burton 26th, 27th, Nick Sanchez 28th, Ryan Ellis, Jesse Love 29th, Brad Perez in 30th, Kyle Seek 31st, Garrett Smithley 32nd, Josh Williams 33rd, Connor Mosack 34th, and Jeremy Clements 35th, 36th, Mason Maggio, Takuma Koga 12 laps down in 37th, and Thomas Nunziata had that fluid leak there towards the end of stage 2. He's out of the race, 38th. So that rounds out our full 38-car field here. Again, 91 laps left, 8 lead changes, 5 cautions, hour 20 minutes plus into the events here tonight under the lights at Martinsville. We'll keep the stream going. And we'll end the chat poll, which got up to 61 votes. 38% of you taking Zilich for the win. Hasn't really been a factor at all today. Probably the most non-factor Zilich has been since April, before the Talladega wreck. 33% of you took somebody other than Zilich, Almirola, or Quapple for the win. 21% had Almirola, Quapple at 8% of the votes. Mayer leads. We'll see if he can keep the good times going. Eric Almirola took the lead moments ago during the side-by-side commercial break. Taylor Gray followed his teammate to get into second, so Mayer now drops back to third. Maybe a bit of a sigh of relief for Carson Kvapil if he hears that over the radio. Because the next highest in the running order, other than Mayer, who's going backwards on somewhat older tires right now, is Brandon Jones in sixth to try to get a win to move on into the championship four, which I'm not going to doubt that Brandon Jones can't get up there, because I do believe he's going to beat these two if these are the ones that he has to beat, knowing their teammates at JGR, Gray and Almirola. Like it or not, I think team motors are going to come into play one way or another, and Jones will probably end up getting in over them. So then Jones has to beat C, Allgaier, and Mayer. Mayer's dropping. Hasn't quite been able to keep up with the 7 for most of the night. If it is a race for the win between Taylor Gray and Eric Almirola, so far so good, as we have about 85 laps to go. They're under a blanket with one another. Good little battle for the lead going on between the 54 and the 19.
Became to be able to win, and then obviously the contact with Sammy Smith the last lap in the last corner. And it sure does look like the 54 is every bit as quick, if not better, than it was in spring.
And we talked about the standings and how things would change if Mayer lost the lead. You know, he was showing locked in because he was out front. He drops now to 5 below the cut line. Jesse Love at plus 11. He came in at plus 40, but we know he's not had a great race start tonight, a lot of problems. And you see Carson Kvapil, he continues on the move. He's at plus 6 and having a really good night.
And look at where Jesse Love is right now. He is sitting in 30th. He has gone backwards since the restart, trying to hold off Kyle Seed and Garrett Smithley here. And it almost looks like he's holding them up.
Well, it's a lot of respect on that control. Something's not functioning right, because it almost looks like the engine's actually not running well there.
Let's get an update on the 2, Kim.
And if you think about Jesse Love coming into this race, plus 40 as they run, plus 10. They have no major big concerns right now, though. Some serious concerns for the 2 as he continues to drop spots. But they told me they have to execute. And I said, what does that mean? They said, keep their nose clean. Well, they've kept the car clean, but they have not kept clean is Camp Road. They had a speeding penalty, equipment interference that has put them considerably far back in terms of track position. Now, they have kept their heads under control. There's been no major blow-ups on the radio. Right now, though, crew chief Danny Stockman just telling him to wrap the bottom as best he can. Josie not liking the handling of his race car.
And he is in jeopardy of going a lap down here in about 2 seconds to the leaders from him. As we look at Taylor Gray, look to the inside of Eric Almirola for the lead.
Eric Almirola had the sweep here last year. Taylor Gray could have easily made this race in the spring. A vet and a rookie from Joe Gibbs Racing going at it for the top spot.
Sometimes 8 tires turn better than 4.
Think about the heartbreak and disappointment here at Martinsville for Taylor Gray. Last year in the trucks, had a chance to go to the championship 4, knocked out of the way. In position for his first career win in the spring, pushed aside on the final turn, trying to get the lead and take control with less than 80 remaining and get after it in that inside lane.
And you gotta, if you're Eric, you're like, I don't mind you hitting me once, but they can't be every corner here. You see Eric's holding on the outside. It's such a hard pass when there's not a lot of tire fall off. That outside car can just generate so much momentum. Clearly, the 54 is.
I mean, yeah, Gray is leaning on Eric Almirola, trying to take this lead away with about 77 laps to go. They've been side by side for 3 to 4 laps now, with the 19 on the higher line and Taylor Gray trying to wrap around the bottom on both ends of the racetrack. They're 3 seconds ahead of Mayer in third, while Allgaier runs him down for that spot. They're within a few tenths of one another as well. Gray has not been able to lead a lap yet. Almirola's been ahead by the start-finish line every time. But Taylor's racing hard. He wants redemption at a track that he feels he should have won, or had won earlier in the season before getting dumped in the final corner of the final lap by Sammy Smith. Gray is better than the 19. He's just unable to get the pass made. Want to abuse your stuff trying to make this pass for too long and then risk slipping behind. Wow, Jesse Love went way up the racetrack through turns 1 and 2 that last time by, and All of a sudden now, Jesse Love at the mercy of nearly going a lap down. Ton of lap traffic in front of the leaders, Gray and Almirola. Almirola's boxed in. He's got a lapper to his outside. He's got one in front of him on the bottom lane. Finally going to slip through to the bottom of the 45 now. Get a little bit of separation for where that 54 car is. Got a fire underneath Jeremy Clements' right front. Clements hits pit road. Oh my goodness. Not a big fire. We actually do stay green. Well, I was wrong about the longest green flag run of the day only being 31 laps at the start of the race. This one has exceeded that. We're already at almost 40 laps into the run. We have not had a caution in stage 3 yet. It's surprisingly only 5 total in tonight's race. And it's a good one because we have another great battle for the lead between Almirola and Gray. Jesse Love going to go a lap down. He'll be in the free pass position for now, but if the leaders end up catching anybody else, then Jesse Love's going to end up being not in the free pass position anymore. As Love is all the way back in the 32nd place position. An abysmal night. No stage points after coming into the day 40 points above the cut line. And he wasn't even the last driver in either. As they run, he's still +9, but now just at the mercy of everybody else at this point. Mayer's still holding on for third, which is big. If we get a caution, he's lined back up within the front couple rows. Brandon Jones is right there behind both Mayer and Allgaier, who has a faster race car. I think if Jones can get to third, and we get a caution that bunches the field up, at some point I think he's getting by the 54 and the 19 if he doesn't get caught up in an incident. That's what I believe. Connor Zillich looking to make a pass on his teammate Carson Kvapil. Kvapil +6 above the cut line with where he runs. And where Mayer and Jones are on the track, they're not going to be able to gain enough positions to beat Carson Kvapil. If we don't get a new winner, Carson Kvapil has to finish 20th or better to make it to the championship 4 based on the stage points scored today with that stage win at stage 2 and the points that he had coming in. So again, 20th or better for Kvapil to advance. That would mean a second place finish for Brandon Jones would be the one that would knock him out. Or Sam Mayer for that matter. With that 20th place run. Or 21st or worse, I guess, technically, to knock Kvapil out, because 20th or better will get him in. '18 car, Justin Bonsignor. Where did he come from? He blew by Brandon Jones. Same for Allgaier. Blows by the 41 of Sam Mayer. I think Justin Bonsignor is the fastest car on the racetrack right now. I mean, he made such quick work of those 3 guys, and he passed them all cleanly. Meanwhile, Taylor Gray and Eric Almirola continue to battle up at the front of the field. They're side by side again after battling door to door for a handful of laps earlier in the run. Now they're going at it at this point in the run. The more they battle, the better for Bonsignor. Almirola leads still. Oh, I think Almirola slipped up the racetrack in 1 and 2, may have overdrove the corner a bit. Didn't look like he had gotten contacted from behind by Taylor Gray. Gray tight to the curbing on entry. I mean, he's doing everything he can other than just shipping the 19 up the racetrack. If it wasn't a teammate, I think he would have done that by now. A lot of patience being shown by the driver of the 54 car. Now he's nose to nose down the backstretch. Lap car of Daniel Dye is going to get in the way. What lane is he going to choose? Couple more lap cars up in front of Dye upcoming as well for these two leaders. A little contact up off the exit of the corners. Almirola tries to duck in line to the bottom lane of the racetrack. Gray hits him in the middle of the corner just a little bit. Slight nudge. Almirola maybe backing up the center more than Gray had anticipated. That's going to knock Jesse Love out of the free pass position. Those two cars going a lap down, by the way. Not sure if the 53 was already lap down or not, but I can guarantee Daniel Dye wasn't. Caution is out for the 6th time today. A spin by Josh Williams in the 45, who was multiple laps down. And another spin with Brennan Queen and the 44 of Brennan Poole. After the yellow flag was out, I wonder if somebody might not have known there was a caution. Zilich has damage from it as well.
Down the track in front of a bunch of cars. Corey Day was stopped as well. So we see here Josh Williams on the outside. Oh, it's a bump for Brendan Poole and the Brendan Queen. Spins them both around, and then you see here just sort of a parking lot. And look at the one at Carson Couple.
Barely misses that. That was just the accordion effect of all those guys racing and someone checking up in the middle.
Well, I hate this for Corey Day because he had been doing such a nice job of managing his race car and racing around really good cars, playoff drivers all night long, and he got caught up in that. He couldn't get through, but Quapple does. Watch that 17.
I don't know that Corey's got that much damage, though. It looked to me like Zilich actually maybe came out on the worst end of all that. We saw he had damage already. Yeah, Corey might have had a little contact with Brendan Poole, the 44 there.
Zilich.
I don't like the fact that the race right before the championship that you could lose a little bit of momentum.
2 in a row.
Yeah.
Because they didn't. They had 18 consecutive
Right.
top 5s, and now back to back,
Adam.
things have not gone their way.
Totally agree. It stinks. Like racing, momentum is everything in this, and he's had an incredible year, but you want to have that momentum heading into the championship race.
Momentum builds confidence. And even when you've had the season he's had, it's easy to lose a little bit of that confidence. And that's not what you want to have going into a single race to go win a championship.
Well, and that started from practice, right? Got behind in practice, had to start in the back. They've lost their pit selection where they maybe could have picked for next week at Phoenix. He talked about that earlier today, and now he finds himself in the gaggle of cars and got in trouble again.
Hey, by the way, Daniel Dye scored as the first car 1 lap down at the time of caution, so he gets the free pass. Jesse Love will stay 1 lap down. And look at our playoff standings right now. Quapple, where he runs on track at plus 11, has jumped in front of Jesse Love, who's plus 10, and 1 lap down. Now, I will say this. Cautions tend to breed cautions at this place. So an opportunity for Love to get back on the lead lap here, but we'll have to wait to see how it plays out. Progressive Pit Road is open, and we have some takers. Here's Dylan.
Eric Almirola, first one in top of the screen, said he can't be looser into the corner, but he needs some center roll to help him wrap the curve. They'll make an adjustment for that. Sam Mayer wanted half of their last air pressure adjustment back that they made all the way back at the end of stage 2. And Taylor Gray, pretty happy with his car. Biggest message from Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief: don't feed ourselves on pit road. Do not speed, Kim.
See Justin Allgaier, bottom of your screen, all the way towards the exit of pit road is where his pit box is. Tight 2/3 mark at the corner. He's reporting, but he says loose his rear lateral. So Jim Coleman's going to free him up with an air pressure adjustment. He also mentioned a chassis adjustment. You just saw that, or fresh Goodyear tires. Sit up both viewers.
And here's the race off Progressive Pit Road. Taylor Gray jumps in front of Eric Almirola. A couple of cars did stay out. Bonsignor comes off up there as well. So we'll sort through where everybody's going to restart. And watch this. Carson Quapple trying to hang on for a playoff. That's a spot in the championship 4 and nearly gets involved in this crash. Caution number 6 out into Martinsville. Restarting when we return.
Under a commercial break with our 6th caution of the race, 10 lead changes so far at this point in the day. Did Sawalch get fired or something, says Braden Taylor in the chat. No, he's actually out with an injury following a crash late last week at Talladega. Hopefully he'll be back next weekend for the finale at Phoenix, but that is why Justin Bonsignor is in the 18. Justin Bonsignore was actually supposed to drive the 19 car, scheduled to run before the weekend, and Almirola was actually supposed to have off this week. But with the injury to Sawalich, now Almirola's back in the 19 where he's won a couple times before and won once here, obviously, at Martinsville before. And Justin Bonsignore gets the 18 ride now, and all three of them really, or both of them, making the most out of this. Bonsignore drove himself up to third before that last caution. It's a JGR-dominated performance right now by the Stage 3 site. All four JGR Toyotas, Gray, Almirola, Bonsignore, and Jones, are the front four of those that pitted for tires there. And only the top two cars stayed out of the pits, Nick Sanchez and Brad Perez, to be on old tires. This is, in my personal opinion, exactly what Brandon Jones needs to try to get this win. Is nothing but teammates up ahead. And he's good on the short run, too, so he might legitimately be able to just outright pass some of these guys. Carson Quapple's made his way back up to 12th. If he stays out of trouble, a top 20 run, he'll point his way in. Jesse Love, who is still a lap down in 32nd, not in a great spot right now. Free pass went to Daniel Dye for being the first car lap down. So Love still scored off the lead lap at the time. Yeah, not a great rookie season for William Sawalich in the Xfinity Series. So to add to the fact that this happens with the injury last week at Talladega, that wasn't good either.
Xfinity Series round of 8 elimination race in Martinsville, Virginia. Kim Kuhn, Dylan Wells from the pit lane. With Jamie McMurray, Parker Kligerman, I'm Adam Alexander. In the CW Garage is Carla Metz. We're happy to be bringing this one to you. Jesse Love made a pit stop. They are a lap down, but he's the first car a lap down, so a quick caution here could get him the free pass. Boy, I'll tell you what, not a lot of breathing room, but if we don't get a winner from below the cut line, Love should be in a good spot. Nick Sanchez, he's on the front here. Restart with 49 remaining.
Sanchez had a good turns 1 and 2 right there. It's gonna be so hard though for him to hang on. We know how quick that 54 has been all night long.
Brad Perez falling back to the 07 there. He stayed out as well. They're splitting him to get around him.
Barely got him cleared right here. Gonna run one more lap wide, make sure he's cleared.
Oh, well, that's going to trap just over there.
Oh, man.
This is what we talk about. Only 6 so far tonight. That's half the average here since we started racing here once again in 2020. Teammates side by side. 41 is Mayer. 00 is Creed. The caution was big for Mayer because he was going to have to make a pit stop. Now he's got to get his work done on track and win this race if he's going to go to Phoenix.
See the chaos breakout right here, 3 wide. Allgaier gets trapped right there. Then he's gonna try to get back down on line. Contact from Ellis. You've lost all your momentum. Now you're still 3 wide on the outside. So hard to get back down here at Martinsville.
Corey Day mixing it up in the 17. Haven't said Austin Hill's name tonight. He's in the 21. We'll be here in the springtime in confined fashion.
The second's definitely got a left front tire rump right there. You see that smoke down the corner. That's not brake lock up. That's from that fender being pushed in against the tire.
Look at this.
Oh,
Not happy earlier with Sam Mayer. A little bump, a little run here. Jeff Burton having a good night is ninth. You know, message when you look right behind him. And then hooks up with those cars. It's football's 33 because he's in a good spot. When you look at the leaderboard, you don't want to be caught up in their mess.
You got to think they've warned Sam how frustrated the 27 was with him earlier in the race. Jeb kind of slowing down, just antagonizing him now. So one been following through, trying to hang him out on the inside. You mentioned that there's multiple ways to get back at people. That's one of them.
That's not. We'll see what Sam Mayer's response is, if any.
And by the way, Jeff Burton's dad, Ward, celebrating a birthday today. You know, he'd love to pull into victory lane. The balance of patience and aggression. Coming to 40 laps to go. So much pushing and shoving. And out front, look at this. It's a Joe Gibbs Racing parade. Taylor Gray, Eric Almirola, and Brandon Jones. And Brandon Jones needs to win this race if he's going to go to Phoenix and win the title.
Yeah, not good for
Jesse Love's
Quapple.
team, you're seeing this as well, thinking you do not want that 20 to suddenly be leaking. He would be out of the championship board moving on to Phoenix.
Well, and I just think back to 2022. Brandon Jones is leading. And if he wins, he goes to Phoenix and gets pushed out of the way by his teammate, Gibbs, who goes on to win the title. How aggressive could he get here in the late laps with his own teammates? Meanwhile, right side of your screen, Quapple continues to take care of business.
Well, we know Eric Almirola's been to victory lane this year, but the other car in front has never been to victory lane in the Xfinity Series. And I'll promise you, Taylor Gray's going to put up the fight of his life to keep Brandon Jones behind him. He's not worried about Brandon's season. He's worried about his year.
Well, and I look at Gray out front, and I think about non-playoff drivers in the races in the round of 8. Almirola wins at Las Vegas last week. Austin Hill, could we make it 3 for 3? And Taylor Gray takes home the trophy. And right behind this trio of Toyotas at the front, Sammy Smith. He too going to need to find his way to victory lane. The way it sits now, if he's going to be able to make it to Phoenix, and he's running in his best position of the night. Got a pair of run-run finishes here to Smith.
If you're Carson Quapple, he's obviously had some of the best speed we've seen here tonight as he works on the 41 and the 48. Just needs to be methodical, not take too much
boy.
risk. The smooth move right there, backed out of it, knew they were going to be 3 wide. Knows the situation. He's in a really good spot points-wise right now.
We're right there with Jesse Love, still a lap down. Back in the 32nd position for him right now. It's just survive and advance. And the guy just in front of him on the leaderboard, Carson Quapple. Here's the one radio running 10th.
Good advice right there. Yeah, you're in good shape. Didn't really tell him the exact situation, but just let him know we got to get what we can get, but take a deep breath. We're in good shape right now.
The problem for Quapple here is they all race for position. They're stacking up behind him. And the patience continues to go away. You just don't want to be a victim of circumstance here.
Yeah, well, the 48 is going to be the car that's going to be struggling here. On older tires, see the ones gotten by him. Ryan C. going to follow through. They're going to try to leave Nick stuck on that outside. But the 54 on the left is not driving away by any means. Saw how much better he was than Eric earlier in this run. All those Gibbs cars, though, I mean, just laid on top of one another right here. 4 of the top 5 from JGR.
They won 5 of the last 7 here, 6 of the last 10 is Joe Gibbs Racing. And we talk about Taylor Gray and his Martinsville disappointments. Think back to the last elimination race. Just advancing by 1 point. 7th caution of the night for Parker Retzloff goes around.
This is big for Jesse Love, who was in the free pass position. See Brad Perez also spun down the inside. He stayed out and was kind of falling back there.
But it's huge for Love because you get back on the lead lap and every position is a point.
Yeah, right.
He was trapped in a place where he could get no points. And now I mean, you give yourself a chance to create a little buffer, and if you do get someone winning from below the cut line now, you have a true shot to race the one of Carson Kvapil for that position.
Take a look here. Anthony Alfredo in the back of Parker Retzloff. He gets to Christian Eckes, spins around. And then here comes Brad Perez. Maybe off the bumper there, Blaine Perkins. It's a little bit of aggression late in the race. Maybe there was something that was preceded that beforehand.
I feel like it's been fairly calm up to this point, but with 30 laps to go.
Well, I mean, look on the second row of this restart. You got Brandon Jones and Sammy Smith both in a must-win position, essentially, with the opportunity right in front of them.
Well, in the same for Sheldon Creed, who's 6th prior to the choose. Sam Mayer, who's 8th prior to the choose. Those are all drivers that realize if we're going to go to Phoenix, we need to win. And if you had asked them prior to the race, going in 30 laps to go, restart, would you take this position? They probably would have said, yeah, I mean, maybe I can make something happen from there. They can see the front, but to get to the front, you're going to have to turn up the aggression meter, playoff standings as they run. Kvapil at plus 13, Love at plus 11.
If you can't have the dominant car on the day, then what you want is this chance that Brandon Jones and Sammy Smith have. And that is just an opportunity to see if you can make something happen on a restart, see if there's some contact that could go in your favor, some congestion that possibly opens up a lane that gets you to the lead, or even just having more restarts than this one, which is a possibility that we see here often, that these sorts of cautions seem to 3-4 cautions.
By the way, 4 cars did come down pit road there. The best of those that gave up track position running 11th, Nick Sanchez. Boy, this 4-box really tells you a lot, doesn't it? The other thing to keep in mind here with 28 to go, you see how close things are for Kvapil and Love. And they both have a 13-point cushion. But let's say Brandon Jones jumps up there, wins this race, and the battle at the bubble comes down to Kvapil and Love. You go to best finish in this round. Carson Kvapil was second last Saturday at Talladega. So he's in a really good spot. Should he be involved in a tiebreaker? Don't know how this race is going to unfold, but I would tell you that he's in a good position to get the tiebreaker should it come down to that, and he's involved.
Yeah, good job. Banging a full attack mode. Good copy.
I would also tell you, when you look at our standings, we've already factored in the Xfinity fastest lap, and that could change between now and the end of the race, but right now that belongs to Justin Allgaier, so it's not a factor right now as you think about where everybody runs in regard to the standings and who could advance. And you think about this guy, Taylor Gray. We talk about the heartbreak, not advancing to the round of 8. The heartbreak of Martinsville. We rewind to the springtime. Final lap. Looks like he's going to get his first career victory. Sammy Smith gets him. Austin Hill drives through for the improbable win.
And he really had been dominant in stage 3 of that race. They had gotten together a restart before that. He repaid the favor in one of the more delicate ways that you could do that. I felt like in a lot of respects they were even, and then obviously there was the move by Sammy Smith down into turn 3 of the final lap that took him out.
You have to be closer than that to make that move.
Yes.
You got to be
That was
within
too far
half a
back.
car length. Yeah. It's just so hard to come from 3 or 4 car lengths back and do that. And not, I mean, obviously he wrecked himself in the process of it. So hopefully we can run out green here. 26 laps to go. You got to know chaos is getting ready to break out.
People love stock car racing because there's the idea of contact. That is allowed. There's fenders on these race cars, but there's contact that's sort of being aggressive, and then there's over the top. That, at the end of that race, was over the top. What we've seen here tonight often has been the right level of contact that you expect from stock cars on a tight half-mile paper plane.
We've done the choose.
All right, here we go. Getting set for the restart. We're going to have 25 laps to go. Taylor Gray and Eric Almirola will be on the front row here. Gray is the control car. Sammy Smith outside of row 2. Brandon Jones inside of row 2. Probably going to need a win to get into the next round. Green flag back in the air. Not a great restart for Almirola on the outside of that second row. Brandon Jones already underneath him for second. Sammy Smith in the 8. Quickly getting down to the bottom lane in front of Justin Bonsignor. He'll follow the 20 of Jones. up off the exit of turn 4. Jones didn't get a great drive off. Sammy Smith going to try to outbrake him. Smith into the left rear of Brandon. Side by side and a slight bit of contact, and Sammy Smith trying to steal away third place. Jones may be taking a little bit too long to try to make a pass. Sheldon Creed back up into the mix as he works himself into the top 5 nearly now. Carson Quapple goes around and the caution flag's out again, the 8th time. Quick spin, the field rushes by, but Quapple, who I believe got back up inside the top 10 before that spin, or at least was pretty close to it, is now tail end of the lead lap. Oh my goodness.
Make their way through the field. There's not been a ton of tire fall off tonight. So let's take a look back at this. It's Ryan Sieg. Oh, he's got locked up. He's being pushed by Harrison Burton a little bit and goes up the track.
I think Sieg pulled down to block Harrison Burton. Burton got into the back of Sieg, and then that forced him into the.
You can see the left front locked up. He's trying to stop it.
Wow.
And Carson's really just
Yeah,
the unlucky recipient.
And you talk about those drivers that are thinking win. And now the mindset changes maybe for Brandon Jones. Look at this. They're thinking, get me to the checkered flag. And now it's like, wait a minute here. Now all of a sudden points become a real possibility to advance because Jones goes from below the cut line to +3. Quapple from 9th falls deeper in the field. He's -8. It's just crazy how things always seem to get out of hand late. But the
Tight it is now.
it's the same. But here's what I would say as well. Quapple, as we said earlier, has the tiebreaker, number 1. And number 2, he falls to 30th. So there's a lot of cars in front of him to go and pass. Every position is a point.
There is, Adam, but we saw with Zilich early in the race.
Couldn't go anywhere.
He didn't just drive up through the field. That's a little different at the end of the race because there are going to be some wounded cars. Guys might be a little more willing to know what you have on the line, maybe not race you quite as hard, but it's not a given that he's going to pass 8 cars in the next 21 laps.
And there's another car lurking here in 5th that we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight, but he's definitely in a must-win position. That's Sheldon Creed, who's also up there. He's been close to winning here before. He's finished second 15 times. Could tonight be the night? Let's take a listen to Carson Quapple's radio.
We're 29th right now. Everything, you're 8 points below. Everything. Forward. Point.
I think the good news for them is that there's a lot of cars on the lead lap. It's not like you're the tail end and you only have 15 cars on the lead lap. There are some slower cars back there, but it was hard for his teammate Zilich to pass earlier in this race. I don't think we've seen the end of the contact, though. When you look at Brandon Jones, who's up front,
No.
Sammy Smith, knowing how aggressive all these guys are going to be on the restarts, one of those guys could end up spun out just as well on one of the next couple of restarts that we have. So a lot's going to change in the next 10 minutes of this race.
Boy, you load up and you're thinking for those guys that were in row 2 at the restart, Sammy Smith and Brandon Jones, just go win this race, win your way to Phoenix. And then one hiccup for the one car, Carson Quapple, who gets turned, and it changes the game. And the other thought is, as you go back and you start thinking about the battle for the race lead, another restart for Gray with Almirola probably on the front row with him. Let's get an update. Team radio, Brandon Jones riding 4th prior to the choose.
There's a chance we can beat them both on points. Because right now we're fairly up on him. If he gets 1 spot, he would get the tiebreaker. So right now, once you're thinking about going for the win, just being the A car in the process.
And I think that sums it up perfectly. You don't want to muddy the waters in his position with how close is 1 point right there. He's so close at the front of the field, currently sitting in 4th. You got to be focused on trying to win right here. That's the easiest option. If you have to fall back in points, you hope if you were going for the win, you can finish somewhere in the top 5, top 3, and that should hopefully get it done for you.
This choose is going to be huge. We saw the launch that Taylor Gray got the last time. Oh my Lord, he's going to have Sammy Smith behind him. I mean that's got to make you nervous. Knowing knowing what happened 6 months ago.
Hey, I'm thinking tiebreaker here. You look at the guys in row 2. If they were to end up tied, likely the tiebreaker would be their finish here tonight because that would probably be their best finish in the round. So, I mean, you're racing for positions and points, and then you also, at the end of the night, could be racing for the best finish in the round, which would be the tiebreaker to send someone to Phoenix.
Taylor needs another restart like he had on the previous one to
Yep.
get out and then hopefully get the 8 and the 19 side by side so he can get a little bit of a buffer.
Can you imagine Sammy Smith with the must-win situation right now to make the playoffs, dumping Taylor Gray at Martinsville for the second consecutive time? I'm surprised he didn't punch him after the first time. I think he has to punch him after the second time. It's not impossible. They're lined up inside row 1 and row 2 in the restart. 17 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. Taylor Gray is the leader. Down into the first turn, Sammy Smith could not accelerate quite as quick as the 19 and the 54, and Gray, with a great launch off turn 2, is clear of Almirola for the race lead. Sammy Smith and Sheldon Creed up on the inside. Jones, as of right now, on the cut line. He can pick that spot up right now by getting into second. The problem is Jones is in fourth, plus you got to factor in Carson Quapple, who's minus 6 points below the cut line, but if he gets up into the top 20, then the points are nullified for the likes of Sammy Smith, Brandon Jones, and Sheldon Creed, who are all inside the top 5. 15 laps to go. Sammy Smith still on the inside of Almirola for second. Almirola fighting hard to keep his teammate out in the lead, and Sammy Smith is clear into second place. This 8 car has come alive in this final stage. I don't know what adjustments they made to it, but they have got him rolling. JGR was locking out the top 4 positions at one point, and now Sammy Smith has broken up 3 of which, 1 more to go. I think he races him straight up until it's the final lap, and then he's going to do what it takes to get his team into the championship 4. Sammy Smith barely through the Roval, limping his way into the round of 12 after a deep points deficit into that elimination race. He was only 11 points back coming into the night on Carson Quapple. But after no stage points and Quapple winning stage number 2, he put himself in a situation where he practically has to win this race now. I think Jones is going to get a spot on Almirola to get that point back if needed. Quapple's up 3 positions from the restart when he was minus 6. Now he's minus 3. And Sam Mayer, minus 2 points, could also gain a couple spots, though he's in 6th. He would have to pass Creed and Jones. And those are not going to be easy passes, knowing that they're in the same situation Mayer's in. Quapple's got 3 wide traffic right in front of him. He's got time, too. He's got 11 laps. A lot of bumping going on. Austin Green way up the racetrack at the hands of Christian Eckes. That was 2 free spots for Quapple. And he's underneath the Blaine Perkins after trying to bump and run on him. This would get him tied at the cut line. And he does own the tiebreaker because of a second place finish at Talladega. Tiebreaker is the best finish in the round. Quapple clear on Blaine Perkins. So now he has the tiebreaker on Jones for that final spot right now. Smith is minus 1. Sure, you're practically looking at a must-win situation here for Jones and Smith if Quapple continues to gain positions, which he's already underneath another car, Kyle Sieg. Sam Mayer trying to bump Sheldon Creed. A lot of contact between those two. Defensive line by Creed. He was not getting moved out of the way by Mayer. Mayer nearly spins out. I think both of those two are probably hot. Desperation mode, to say the least, right now. Don't know that we've seen the last caution. 7 to go this time by. Taylor Gray has kind of pulled away a bit from Sammy Smith. He's got about 3 to 4 car lengths on him, if not more. 7 to go. Very similar to how Stage 3 went in the spring race earlier this season, where we had restarts late, quite a few of them. Gray nailed all but the very last one, where he got shipped by Sammy Smith on the final lap. Quapple looking to get another spot as he's underneath the Star Poli in the 24. Connor Zilic has rallied to get back up in the top 10. A lot of contact, Daniel Dye, Star Poli. That makes for an easy pathway for Quapple to get through. Brandon Jones has caught Sammy Smith, going to battle him for second. Jones to the inside of the 8 car. 5 laps to go at the line. Jones clears the 8. And Almirola now back on the 8 of Sammy Smith. But the caution flag is out. Not sure where. Looks like Daniel Dye. Might have a flat right front or something breaking on the right front. Looks like a flat right front tire. Limping his way around the racetrack. So 5 laps to go. Caution flags out for the 9th time. We're almost to the double digits. One more to get there. But this is going to put us past the scheduled distance, and we will be headed to overtime. All 3 series went to overtime last weekend in the Truck Xfinity and Cup race at Talladega. And this weekend we're 2 for 2. Martinsville Truck and Xfinity going to overtime. Cup race still to go tomorrow, but point situation is now looking like it's going to have to be a win for Jones or Smith to get into the championship 4, and Creed, who's still back there in 5th. Top 6 right now, Taylor Gray leads, Brandon Jones 2nd, Sammy Smith 3rd, Eric Almirola 4th, Sheldon Creed in 5th, and Sam Mayer is 6th. You have Quapple up to 19th. Again, 20th or better for Quapple, no matter if Brandon Jones, who is the closest on points to him in this final stage, finishes 2nd, which he is in 2nd. I mean, there's a possibility Quapple maybe gets spun on the restart again, middle of the pack, or loses 2 positions in the middle of the pack. Assuming that Quapple doesn't lose a couple spots, it's going to be must win for Jones, Smith, and Creed. We'll keep an eye on where Quapple finishes, obviously when the checkered flag flies. I would assume it's going to be a race for the checkered flag, and we're not going to have a caution on the final lap unless it happens on the back straightaway or turns 1 and 2 with a big wreck. But if there's a crash at 3 and 4 coming to the checker, I would assume NASCAR is keeping it green. That kind of seems to be the case at Martinsville. Well, we've seen instances like this in the Xfinity Series here in recent years. A few times. May see it again. Just the idea that Sammy Smith, and if Sammy Smith boots the 54 on the restart, let's say Sammy Smith is inside of row 1 and Taylor Gray leads, and he ships him up the racetrack, gets underneath, or, for whatever reason, gets to the lead but doesn't drive away, Taylor Gray is going to wreck the you-know-what out of Sammy Smith, and he has every right to because he got wrecked out for a win earlier in the season. And he's going for his first career win that he felt was probably robbed by Sammy Smith earlier in the year. Brandon Jones, a teammate of Taylor Gray. If he's on the outside of row number 1, he might not be in the best position. Obviously, if Sammy moves the 54 up the track and 20's already going to be there, that's not going to be good either. I think Jones definitely takes outside of row 2 because I don't think he's going to do any kind of a bump and run on his teammate here. I just don't see it. So setting up for overtime. Oh, Jones does take the inside of row number 2. So Sammy Smith going to be outside of row 1. That is shocking. That is shocking to me that Brandon Jones took the inside of row 2. Worst position right now, I think, is Taylor Gray. Not because he doesn't have the speed, but because I don't know what's going to happen with the cars around him or what the desperation mode is like. I wouldn't think Brandon Jones would be the kind of guy that would do that. I mean, he strikes me as a really clean racer, and he's been on the receiving end of that so many times, so maybe he's like, well, I've been on the receiving end of it so many times, I guess it's time for me to dish it out, but I mean, I'd be shocked. Unless Sammy Smith gets a launch on him or something, I don't know. All right, well, overtime. Spot the championship 4 on the line for a few of them up at the front of the field. Taylor Gray still trying to get his first career win. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for Gray out of the restart zone. And he is going to be clear off of turn 2, and he needs to set sail quickly. Because Sammy Smith is clear for 2nd on Brandon Jones. And Sammy Smith is going to be barreling down on that 54 car here in these final couple laps. Same situation we were in the spring last year, or earlier this year, I should say. Gray in the lead. Sammy Smith in 2nd, but this time, more at stake for Sammy Smith. It's going to be a shot to make it to the championship 4. He's a few car lengths back off of Taylor Gray. But he is not going to barrel it down in there, nor was he close enough to do so. Taylor Gray will hold on, and Gray is going to win the race. Where did Carson Quapple finish? Was he in the top 20? As they cross the start-finish line, Quapple was scored 18th. He does advance by a couple of points over Smith and Jones, who finished second and third. Taylor Gray winning was Carson Quapple's best friend. Jesse Love will survive and advance as well, despite no stage points being a lap down for most of the final stage. Your championship four, Justin Allgaier, Connor Zilic, Jesse Love, and Carson Quapple, the same top four coming into the day. First career win for Taylor Gray. Congratulations to him. He led almost 100 laps in the spring Martinsville race, was robbed of a victory. Today he led 52, will really set the pace for that final stretch to the end. All the other JGR cars kind of faltered late at the hands of Sheldon Creed, Sammy Smith kind of slowly working their way through the field. Taylor Gray did not. He held on and got the race victory. Margin of victory, 0.3 of a second, 2 hours, 6 minutes, 28 seconds total elapsed time on tonight's race. As we finish under overtime, a few laps past the scheduled distance of 250 laps. 9 cautions today, 11 lead changes, 71 laps of yellow. And again, for Taylor Gray, he ended up leading 52 laps en route to his victory. Eric Almirola also led for 52 laps today, 32 for Sam Mayer. 16 for Harrison Burton from the pole, 40 for Carson Quapple, who won stage 2, 36 for Justin Allgaier, who won stage 1, 19 for Brendan Queen, 5 for Nick Sanchez, 1 for Justin Bonsignor, and those were all the different drivers who led at least once today. We'll go through the finishing results here in a moment, but first, you get interviews from first race winner Taylor Gray, who upsets the playoff field, and then championship 4 competitors, I'm sure, that have locked themselves in, Carson Quapple and those that just missed out.
He did here in the spring to know that was too far. He was in the exact same position, had the exact same opportunity, and chose not to do what he did in the spring.
And it's now official. We have our championship four. We knew about Connor Zilic, Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love hangs on. He goes to the championship four for the first time in his career. And so does Carson Quapple. 2 rookies going to Phoenix, and 3 of the 4 coming from Junior Motorsports. What an effort by him after the spin to come back and put himself in championship position.
You got to think that guy right there is going to have like a beer and a cigarette. So this
The night he had, wow. But this format is all about surviving an event. And Jesse does it. And Taylor Gray picks up his first career victory. What an awesome night for him down to Dillon.
And the coolest part about this is just how excited all his crew members and everybody is for this guy who has worked so hard. Hey, was the wait worth it? Does it feel as good as you imagined to finally be here in Victory Lane?
Gosh, about damn time I get me a clock, baby! Man. Man, I cannot thank everybody on this 54 team. Such an awesome race car. Way faster. I'm not going to say than Xfinity Mobile, but just as fast.
I think you just did.
I know. My bad, Xfinity. Man, Jason Ratcliffe, all these guys, the pit crew did an awesome job tonight. Everybody on this crew bring awesome race cars to this racetrack and give me an opportunity to race for one every time I come here.
All right, there was maybe no better place on the schedule than Martinsville for Taylor Gray to get his first Xfinity Series win. Kim?
And welcome to the championship for Carson Quapple, but it wasn't for a fight there at the end. Late race spin, you had to battle. Was that some of the hardest racing you've done in your career?
It was probably the most nerve-wracking racing I've done in my career. Obviously, we were sitting in a pretty good spot before we got turned around there, and I thought we were in a good situation to just kind of ride it out and try not to make any enemies and just try to finish the race out. And obviously, once we got turned around there, I'm not sure. It might have been my fault. I really don't know. I haven't seen a replay, but when that happened, I kind of was like, "Oh, we're done." But well, this whole number 1 group really fought hard all race long to give us an opportunity to get to the spot to be in the Final Four, and I just can't thank them enough for that. But like I said, everyone, thank you. Like I said, all the guys brought me a Cars Fest Xfinity Mobile at Martinsville here, and I thought our Bass Pro Johnny Morris Bass Pro Shops Clarence Chevrolet was on rails all day. It's just that first stage didn't really go the way we wanted it to. I thought we were going to have a little bit better pace than that and make some stage points, but we weren't able to do that, and we had to do that in stage 2, which put us in a hole for stage 3. But it all worked out, so we're definitely happy and gonna be really excited going to Phoenix.
What is this team capable of at Phoenix?
Man, I think the sky's the limit for these guys. Obviously, I feel like our season hasn't been the flashiest and the most winning and the most popular, right? But we've been consistent week in and week out, and we come to these racetracks and we might not win, but we only have one DNF the whole season, and we just outpoint the guys and do the best we can on that end of things. But I mean, you never know. It's all comes down to one race, right? At the worst, you have a 25% chance of winning the championship, right? So I like those odds a lot better than being out, but like I said, just can't thank all these guys. Can't thank Dale Jr., Kelly L.W. Miller, everyone at the big shop for what they do to get me in this situation, and just super excited.
Carson Quapple will race for a title next weekend at Phoenix.
He's a blue-collar guy, and he put in a blue-collar performance here tonight. Rolled up his sleeves, went to work.
Final standings, missing out Brandon Jones by 4 points, Sammy Smith by 5, Sam Mayer by 8, and Sheldon Creed by 33. Again, your championship 4 next week. Connor Zillich, Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, Carson Quapple. None of the drivers in the round of 8 of the playoffs won any of the 3 races in the round of 8. Eric Almirola, Austin Hill, who was eliminated in the first round. Almirola, part-time driver. And tonight, Taylor Gray, also eliminated from the first round, get the race wins. Just crazy to think that if they would have made it out of the first round, the likes of Gray and Austin Hill would be in the championship 4 instead of Carson Quapple and Jesse Love, who made it tonight, but they didn't make it out of the first round. So it's the way the cookie crumbles. Taylor Gray with the race win today. We'll go through the rest of the finishing order as follows. Sammy Smith in 2nd, Brandon Jones 3rd, Sheldon Creed 4th, and Eric Almirola rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Jeb Burton finishes in 6th, Sam Mayer 17th, Thompson 8th, Connor Zillich 9th, and Justin Bonsignor in 10th. Harrison Burton 11th, 12th for Austin Hill, Corey Day 13th, Myatt Snyder 14th after an early spin. He brought out the first caution, so great recovery for him. Ryan Sieg ends up 15th, Anthony Alfredo 16th, Patrick Staropoli 17th, Carson Quapple 18th, Nick Sanchez 19th, and Blaine Perkins 20th. Kyle Sieg 21st, 22nd, Ryan Ellis, Jesse Love 23rd, Austin Green 24th, Connor Mosak 25th, Justin Allgaier 26th, Christian Eckes 27th, Josh Williams 28th, Parker Retzlaff 29th, Garrett Smithley in 30th, Brad Perez 31st was the last car to finish on the lead lap. Mason Maggio and Daniel Dye a lap down in 32nd and 33rd. And then 34th on back with a DNF tonight, so 5 total. Jeremy Clements in 34th, Brendan Queen 35th, Brendan Poole 36th, Takuma Koga 37th, and Thomas Annunziata 38th. So that rounds out the field. We are going to be live again tomorrow for NASCAR 25 content before the start of the NASCAR Cup Series race from Martinsville. We'll go live for the Cup race at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Not sure on the exact start time for NASCAR 25 before that. Probably going to do another doubleheader. Do trucks at Homestead and Xfinity at Phoenix. The Xfinity Phoenix race probably going to be a 50% one, so just 100 laps there. So probably looking at about 11 a.m., maybe 10:30 early start there so we can get done in plenty of time before the pre-race for tomorrow's Cup event. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everybody. Congrats again to Taylor Gray for winning his first career Xfinity race, and also to the likes of Love and Quapple for locking up a championship 4 spot tonight as well. See you tomorrow afternoon, everybody. Tomorrow, the last live commentary stream of the year, because I'll be at Phoenix for the championship race weekend the following week. So this is the final Xfinity one of the year. We got one more to go. It's kind of sad to see it go by this quickly, but had a lot of fun and more to come still again tomorrow.